do 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 like do 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 crazy oh 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 crazy oh 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 crazy crazy oh oh crazy oh 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 crazy do 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 crazy do 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 crazy do 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 crazy do 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 crazy crazy do do like do 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 like do 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 crazy oh do do like do 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 like do 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 crazy oh
Hello, hello, hello. We are back with some playoff action here in Titan Conqueror League. I'm Metashift, and joining me is Freedom Potatoes.
Hello.
Hello, hello. We have Syndicate Reboot card, who we've streamed earlier this season. They were first place out of Group A, ended up being the third seed after the seeding matches, and they're going to take on Iceborn White tonight, which was second place out of Group B, and it looks like they are now the fifth seed. Both teams were 5-2, with the same exact win-loss record coming out of the regular season, so we have a pretty even matchup coming for us. And Iceborn White 3-0'd Conduit Esports Yeti in the round of 12, so they're coming off a hot 3-0 win in a best of 5. That's got to feel pretty good, where, you know, I think Syndicate Reboot card is coming off some losses in that seeding round, so maybe not as high in the momentum there.
Confidence is definitely key when you're getting into these matches. You know, having the confidence to pick champions you feel comfortable on, or take a risk. Play to the style that suits your team, and just build a lead early, push it through to close out those games. I think confidence is really the name of the game. A lot of times, momentum. It's going to be so huge. But these teams, I do think, are very evenly matched, pretty much in every role, and their overall season record. So I'm hoping for a close series here.
Yeah, some key players to note. I mean, I know both of these top laners, not just from streaming and casting Espada, but also I've seen Stuckdaro play in many leagues. A very, very strong sort of these teams is going to be top lane, but it's also going to be, from what I know, the support retail row. So I'm going to be watching top lane, and I'm going to be watching Codis down there, and those are going to be my eyes for the game. That's definitely the my main point to look at.
For me, I'm pretty excited for these mid lane matchups. I know OTF27 has been a very effective, very dangerous mid laner, and I was looking at the stats a little bit, and it seems like actually Jacob, in just by the numbers, is actually slightly ahead there. Of course, numbers don't mean everything. We're going to have to see how their champion pools play out and their play styles play out on the Rift. But for me, that's I'm a mid laner myself, so that's what I'm excited to watch in this series.
Yeah, I mean, I think both mids are solid, and like you said, they do match up well into each other as teams, and I think that mid is like that spot, right, where they really match up well. And I do think both have the potential to carry, and I'm not sure if like how volatile the lane actually is, or if both are going to play more scaling champions. I think we're used to seeing scaling champions out of both of them. Taking a look at these bans, a lot of junglers, a lot of AD carries.
Makes a lot of sense. I think both of these teams like to play kind of skirmishy or gank heavy junglers. A lot of these fighter champions that can really duel and carry in their own right. So seeing a lot of those taken off the table, and then a lot of these, safer AD carries with escapes or lots of wave clear that can, help them get through to the late game. Camera's a little low there, but yeah. Okay, so we've got the Varus taken on the blue side, and Cho'Gath picked up over on the red side. That is a bit of a flex pick. OTF27 has played it. I'm not sure I got my teams mixed up there. I think that's probably going to be for Espada, I think. I mean, Cho has been such a meta pick these days. Able to go for the full tank or some more AP, going for Shirelias. So
both sides are swapped, so that isn't going to be Espada on the Cho'Gath, which I don't know if you were there when we streamed it last, because this is not Fearless. Espada played Cho'Gath like 2 games in a row, and they lost game 1 and just won the next 2, and he absolutely dominated on the pick. Obviously, this is when Cho'Gath was broken, but it looks like Iceborn wants to steal that away.
Okay, so going back over to the blue side of the draft, they grabbed the Lilia and the Syndra. A lot of AP damage, but some nice CC setup with the Syndra. I think that's a very reliable pick in the mid lane. And then for Iceborn, they've got Corki and Vi. Vi with the ultimate reliable point and click CC ultimate. I think that's going to be really nice for the Cho'Gath. Getting knocked up by Vi into that Cho'Gath queue means whoever's the focus for Iceborn not really going to get to play the game.
Yeah, I'm definitely seeing a ton of magic damage, right? I mean, even Varus does some magic damage. I assume now that this might just be like an AD poke Varus and not on hit, because they're going to need that. Or, I mean, you kind of just know that they're going to pick some sort of bruiser or carry top laner, maybe something like Camille or Aatrox. And like you said, with the pick comp that Vi offers, throwing a Nautilus in there as well, make it really hard for something like Lilia to really use that movement speed to their advantage. They're definitely looking to pick that Lilia off right away. Tahm Kench is a great counter.
That Tahm Kench, the ultimate so strong, able to gobble up anyone that gets hooked in, Vi ulted, whatever it is. He can keep them safe for a pretty good while. But it's still, he can't ult everyone. So they're gonna have to be very very selective with that ultimate. And now the Renekton picked up as well, just a little more sustained damage, frontline, and a little more AD up there in the top side. And it's going to be answered with a Rumble. Just interesting pick. I feel like we don't see a lot of Rumble for the most part these days, but Daro gonna be playing that. Has played it a decent amount before, so adding a lot more damage to the comp for Iceborn, which I do think they need. They got a lot of frontline, a lot of engage, but and if Rumble can lay down that ultimate on someone who's getting hit by that chain CC, I mean, it's totally over for them.
Yeah, no, I agree. I really like Iceborn's comp. It's definitely a very well put together comp. It's just that Syndicate Reboot card, they kind of have the counter comp, right? When you see something like Cho'Gath locked in, that stacking health, and you counter it with that Lilia percent burn and the Varus, they even have that CC to kind of kite back the engage. Now, I mean, Vi and Nautilus have some unstoppable engages, and then you throw the Tahm Kench in there, and again, it's really good. That top matchup is probably really key, since it was a blind Renekton pick. If Stuck Daro can get really fed on this Rumble, I mean, it's just a Vial into Rumble ult anyway, and even if Tahm Kench saves one person, he can't save them all, and they have other tools available. So, I don't know, I really like the Iceborn comp. I think Syndicate's comp does counter it. How well can they play it, right? It's definitely going to come down to some hands.
A lot of execution here. I mean, I think for me, one of the really key players for the side of Syndicate Reboot card is going to be Jacob. That Syndra can do a lot to counter the engage that Iceborn's comp has. If Syndra can kind of stay back behind the front line adequately and keep the E's coming out, peel for Varus and Lilia, and for herself, avoid being the primary target of Iceborn's engage, I think she's going to be able to get a lot of damage off. I talked about it a little earlier, but I think mid lane is going to be really key to how this game plays out.
All right, cool. It looks like we're ready to go. We do have Syndicate Reboot card versus Iceborn Esports. I forget what they're.
Iceborn White, I think, is the
Iceborn White. Yes. Ice is white usually. Yeah, this is game number 1. We have a long best of 5 ahead of us, and I'm ready for it. Digging into the runes a little bit, I like that Jacob's opted for the first strike here. There's not a lot of long range damage on the side of Iceborn, which means Syndra can really easily stack up those passive stacks on the Cho'Gath mid, and also get a lot of free bonus income. And it's so hard to poke Cho'Gath out of lane anyway that something like a Comet or an Aerie might not get as much value as it would in some other lanes. So, like seeing that, it's situational rune pick that gets a lot of value here, I think. Yeah, thinking more about the laning matchups, I mean, Rumble is that counter pick, and Cho'Gath kind of does okay into Syndra. It's not like you can get on her and finish off the kill, but she is rather immobile, so you can hit those Qs if needed, set up for those ganks, and again, you have that sustain, and Syndra's damage is weak early. So the mid lane matchup and the top lane matchup should go well for them, and also Quirky Nautilus, they're going to do a ton of damage to Tahm Kench. I think Iceborn should have some early prio here, and it's up to Haman. I gotta look at these names. I should have looked at these names.
Yeah.
It's up to Haman to use that advantage and make some early plays with it. I think they can.
Yeah, I mean, if this Lilia is able to really farm up and get to where she wants to be in this game, that is a champion that can carry from a wide variety of positions. So I think the onus is on Iceborn to get these early leads and play around them. If Tilted or if Syndicate Reboot card is able to oh wow, and
we off yeah, already off to a crazy start. Like I said, that Quirky Nautilus is so strong. Wait a second, it's the Varus picking up first blood, measurable, and Retail Row take down Quantum Force. I mean, this is bad news for Iceborn, because when a Nautilus falls behind, they tend to keep dying and dying and dying, and they do not have flash.
You said it. The Nautilus chain death is real. And I'm kind of curious how that played out. I mean, my best guess is just it seemed like, Reboot was playing off of their level 2 spike, and they were able to get that early priority, which I feel like normally the Nautilus lane should be able to get that. The threat of the hook at level 1 plus Corki being able to just drop the Gatling gun on you is pretty scary. But so it seems like they were maybe ceded some pressure when they didn't necessarily have to, and now Syndicate Reboot card finding themselves in a nice start to the game.
Yeah, definitely going to be a good start, and this is a lethal tempo Varus, so maybe going for an early level 2 fight, even though they never got to there, it could be bad. I mean, you have an early lethal tempo. If the Varus is already stacked up a little bit with a few autos, they end up just winning that 2v2. And Tom Kench, level 2 gets a big shield if he decides to go E. So we didn't get to see what happened, but I feel like there's a lot of outplay potential there. Karn full cleared down, took the bot scuttle, and it's going to be missed, actually forfeiting the scuttle and maybe looking at top scuttle now. So no jungle really action here early. Yeah, we do have Jacob stopping that recall, which is good for jungle tempo, but lost a lot of HP there. That could be worth. I feel like that actually could be worth.
If it's able to get, one of Vi's camps over to the Lily or something, then I definitely agree, because Syndra can play this pretty safely in the early game, and losing that HP might not be so bad. Able to heal up with those pots, and I mean, yeah, unless you find yourself pincered like Jacob was there, I think it's pretty hard for the Cho'Gath to really apply much pressure until the game goes a bit later. So, hopefully that tempo ends up being beneficial.
Yeah, the count, Metashift official count, was a 13-second advantage here for Lilia in this next clear. So those camps are going to spawn 13 seconds sooner because they're going to be taken 13 seconds sooner, or about that. It could be good. I mean, it depends on if there's another play like that. If Vi goes for a gank and it's unsuccessful and Karn dies, then Lilia, again, will get another advantage there. And if that tempo turns into something like a minute, then I mean, you're gonna get like 100 CS gapped in that jungle, and it's not always the best. It's not always fun.
Those seconds definitely add up, can turn into a lot of gold, a lot of tempo on the map over time. So yeah, I mean, we're still gonna have to wait and see how it plays out. For the most part, lane's going pretty evenly. Despite the early kill in bot lane, farm's still pretty even down there. Mid lane farm's still pretty even, but there's a gank here.
Yeah, it's going to be Jacob landing the stun on OTF. Misses here for the gank, but OTF will use that Flash Thunder spell to get out safely. And still, the only kill is a kill we never saw. But it might be an objective. Karn here going for the dragon. Missed. Maybe looking to contest. OTF is here in the bush on a pink ward. And it will be Iceborn's dragon. First objective of the game is Chemtech Drake.
Dragon over and nothing traded on the other side. I think Lilia is a champ that really likes to do those grubs, and so I think that after that mid gank doesn't go their way, I think pathing up to those grubs would have been a nice way to cross map. Maybe they didn't have vision. It does look like Iceborn has a lot of control wards dropped on the bottom side of the map, so not playing with perfect information there always makes it a little trickier. But yeah, it's first dragon picked up, and Iceborn fighting back, even if it's just an objective.
Yeah, and because these grubs are still sitting here, Karn is in the area with the help of OTF, and with Cho'Gath ulti coming up soon, they might be able to just snag these real quick, and Mist will not be level 6 anytime soon, so this is kind of free, thanks to a roam from Quantum Force. So well played by Iceborn to get the first 2 objectives. Unfortunately, the perfect game is not going to happen because they already died once, but perfect on objectives is a possibility, and that's, I don't know, it's really, I don't think I've seen a game where a team has gotten both the grubs and first dragon yet in like casting. I don't know, I don't remember it happening.
Happen, but it does tend to be, when a team kind of missteps. Usually it's like if there's an early jungle death is, in my experience, where I see that happen a lot.
Yeah.
That wasn't the case here. It was just, just having and maybe a reset timer from the bot lane. It looked like Iceborn's bot was able to be there a lot sooner than the side of Syndicate Reboot card. But and what I really would have liked to see there is the bot lane for Syndicate Reboot card go for a dive or something onto Koopa. It's not the easiest thing to pull off, but when the enemy support roams up there, you gotta look for something, I think, because the farm is dead even and actually going to swing a little bit in the favor of Koopa as he collects this wave.
Yeah, I mean, when a game's this slow, there's like two things to think about. It's like all the CS, is everyone even in CS? Who's got a CS lead? And then the second thing is, will we get Voracious Otacon? That's usually what I'm thinking about because it's just been ruinous for so long. But thanks to that recent change, I've been seeing some Voracious, and that's nice. I like the little GA buff that comes into play. I think it's funny.
It's exciting to see teams use that well. I mean, I think for some people the roses are just nice because it's like a passive buff. You don't have to really think about how to best use it. But it is cool to see teams make plays around that buff to get like a tempo advantage and turn that into Baron or something like that. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I feel like a lot of the time in these leagues, you do see a lot of scrappy early fighting, but yeah, not the case so far. But game could always blow wide open, as junglers have hit level 6 and actually level 7 now, so a lot more CC available in those ganks.
Yeah, and I'm wondering when the Rumble comes online. Has an Ignite Summoner spell up there in the top lane, has a CS lead, maybe needs first item to get the full kill. Meanwhile, in bot lane, I mean, it seems like a lot of aggression from Measurable and Retail Row. Koopa is low health, not low health, half health, low mana, sit back here just trying to CS, but is staying even in farm. Measurable and Retail Row have not really been able to generate a CS lead. They only have that first blood kill.
Yeah, I mean, the health lead is nice and all, but as soon as both bot laners reset, that goes away. So if you can't turn that into like pressure to go get some CS ahead of the enemy, then it's kind of all for nothing, and always feels a little frustrating when you feel like, oh, I'm winning, I look how low he is, and then it doesn't actually do anything at the end of the day.
We do have a dragon coming up in 1 minute. It's going to be a Mountain Drake. This will be the second dragon of the game. If Iceborn secures this, they'll actually already have their 3 objective stacks for the feats of strength, but hopefully we get some juicy action here as Pokes with Sticks do something. Trying to get these teams to start fighting. Here's some action in the top lane. Stuckdaro going to use the Equalizer and the Ignite, come down on Espada, flashing forward, will get the kill, but goes into the Lilting Lullaby Drowsy, and the Avenge kill is picked up by Mist. A good solo kill, but enemy jungler is there. Oh! And Haman Karn is now here for the follow-up. Flash available for Mist. Flash already used by Haman Karn. Mist, can you get out over the wall? Yes! And will escape near death there, but this does leave Iceborn with momentum and priority on the map for second Grubs or the Dragon. It looks like it's going to be Grubs.
One for one trade up in the top side. Great job by Stuck to get the kill despite being outnumbered there, showing the power of that Ignite and the overheating Rumble and the Equalizer all at the same time. It's so much damage. But Lilia getting a kill, I do think Syndicate Reboot card is going to be a little happy about some gold getting onto that champion, getting accelerated a little bit. But losing these objectives is going to hurt them in the long run. This is a pretty early mark for a team to hit all 3, unless there's a miracle steal from the side of Syndicate. And they do have Mist in the area, but I think the Dragon's going down already.
Yeah, and we'll see if there's a fight that ensues after. No Lullaby for the Lilia, but a 3-man stun from Scatter the Weak. Retail Row tries to follow up with the Abyssal Dive, but Iceborn should be able to get out of this one. Thanks to whoever in the chat said, where's the Grub timer? Because I thought they were both spawning at the same time, looking at the little indicators on the minimap, but I was very wrong, and it's going to be a dragon instead, but it doesn't really matter. Maybe they can still pick up those 6 Grubs as the chase through their jungle kind of just delays Reboot card from taking them. And it could be a little bit of a blunder again, taking too much time to get over to these Grubs.
Over on the bot side, though, they just picked up the Feat of Warfare. I guess that chase turned into something. I mean, I don't know if it's worth it necessarily, but they do get a kill, and they're going to be able to get some damage down on this bot turret. Syndra getting accelerated a little bit as well as we head towards the mid game.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's going to be the Nautilus dying yet again, I guess off screen. Not important, right? I mean, it's just the Nautilus. We don't really care about that. But if the Nautilus keeps dying, then that Inting Nautilus trend will continue throughout the game. It's up to Quantum Force to still be relevant. Always going to be relevant, and has been rotating to all of these objectives. So what's a few deaths? You know, it's fine.
I
But
mean,
that gold lead. Ooh. Oh. Yeah, we have the engage. Here comes the Chain of Corruption onto Koopa. A lot of damage coming out from Measurable. Gonna flash forward, but the Devour actually ends up saving him for a little bit longer, but still gonna go down, and now Measurable 2-0 on the Varus. And like you said, this turret was already taking some damage. They have now generated a little bit of a CS lead, especially after they crashed this one. And as well, they are going to secure the second set of Void Grubs. A lot of good things just happened here for Syndicate, and it looks even better when you take a peek at that gold advantage.
That gold lead is now sitting right around 3,000 in their favor. Kind of bigger than you'd expect, given the kill score is not that heavily in their favor, and Iceborn was picking up all those objectives. But I mean, when you're rotating around the map to get those objectives, yeah, that's time that you're not farming your own jungle camps or farming lanes. So can definitely see how that where their priorities may have gotten them.
Yeah, we do have another 1v1 here in the top lane. Stuck Daro using the Equalizer. Ends up turning onto Miss with the Ignite. Almost finds the kill on the Lilia, but the Leandry's burn with the Ignite is not enough, and Espada will take down Stuck Daro.
Nice little gold infusion for Espada. Was pretty behind in the 1v1 matchup, so getting a little bit more gold to be able to fight back against this Rumble is really nice. You want your top laner to be able to match on the side lane, and I think as the game goes later, since Espada has the TP, they are going to be able to impact the map a little bit more than this Rumble, who has the Ignite, is a little more building for the 1v1 here in the top lane.
Yeah, this gold lead is like really scary and really wild. It seems like the CS differential was like pretty close, and now, I mean, thank you for showing this. It's a lot in the bot lane. Look at the gold difference on support alone, 700, and then there's 1,000 in the jungle. So it's kind of just jungle and bot lane tempo. The small lead in the mid as well, but yeah, that sort of advantage generated by Reboot Card's bot lane is yeah, that's impressive.
I've got to agree. I mean, I think people tend to think like, oh, support deaths don't matter that much. But when Nautilus is one of your primary engage tools, if he lands a Q and an ult, like, yeah, there's a lot of value there, but he's also going to die very easily. If he gets Varus ulted or, stunned by Syndra, I mean, he might not even be able to do all that. So, yeah, I think money on supports, to me, a little underrated. Being able to just survive a little longer, bait out more of the enemies, cooldowns, or deal enough damage to help that first kill go down is a kind of a big deal.
Yeah, people always say like, oh, a support tank's not really a real tank, they're a support, but if they do get that gold lead, they could be just as tanky as a top laner or a jungler, or whatever, or this mid Cho'Gath. So honestly, Retail Row is probably pumping out more tank stats than OTF right now, and that's a little scary for Iceborn.
I think most ADC players have had that experience of getting 1v1 by a Leona or something like that, where it's like, yeah, why is the support so tanky? And it's like, well, if they've got a few kills, you better watch out. So yeah, there is a dragon coming up in 15 seconds here. And Mist did just use the smite, but I think, yeah, it's on that shorter cooldown that was only one of 2 charges, so it'll be back up for this objective, and they have a lot of priority in the area. I'm gonna guess this is gonna be given over pretty freely, as OTF is trying to make a cross map play over by the Herald instead.
Yeah, I like this. I like this for Iceborn because it's clear to me the state of the game. They need to contest this dragon. And they have the lead, so it's smart by Iceborn to be like, we lose this fight here, and we lose the game if we take it. Let's go over and make the cross-map play and kind of keep this game alive and scale a little bit longer, because eventually Rumble scaling, Corki scaling, and Cho'Gath scaling are going to be they're going to be something. It's not to say that Reboot Card doesn't have scaling of their own. I mean, Syndra and Varus are already accelerated, and even Lilia, like that's going to hurt too. But right now, Iceborn's just they're not in the position to contest that play.
Agreed. Yeah, smart to recognize, when you're strong, when you're weak. That's such an important part of playing this mid game and choosing what fights to take and when to just give an objective. This could get scary under turret here.
Ooh, a nice hook into the instant devour, and it's going to be depth charge used on the Tahm Kench. They're going to have to switch targets to Retail Row here. Chain of Corruption to maybe buy some time. But I think Retail Row is going to go down. Maybe they give this kill over to Koopa. They do. So a nice little gold back. Oh, OTF, careful. We got the kill. We don't need to die and give them one back, but they're also going to spawn that Rift Herald in the bot lane. Meanwhile, we see Jacob and Espada pushing those solo lanes. Is this worth? Does it end up being worth? I don't know.
I mean, it was a race for the first turret, and it looks like it does go down to Iceborn, so I think that's going to be all... that's going to be the feats going in favor of them.
They were able to secure feats?
Again, they were kind of prioritizing the objectives in the early game, and it looks like that will ultimately pay off. A nice little fight back from Measurable in a pretty scary 2v4 situation. Almost takes out OTF 27 and blows the flash. So I like to see that. I think this on-hit Varus gets a lot of value into the team that Iceborn has built. They've got 4 melee champions, so that Varus can really hit pretty freely, or if there's some frontline provided. It's now another gank on top.
Yeah, once again, we see Stuckdaro getting hit by that lilting lullaby, and Mist is going to pick up the kill. I mean, Stuckdaro is just trying to put as much pressure as they can, knowing that they are the stronger of the top laners in that 1v1. They do generate enough pressure for their team to get mid turret as well. So it's going to be Iceborn getting these first turrets down. But their turrets are low. I don't expect them to stay up much longer.
Standing gold's probably gonna, not mean too much in the long run, as Syndicate Reboot card will be able to get those back, but Nautilus is here top as well.
A flash from Espada to escape the... I don't even know what that's called. The knockup from Cho'Gath.
Rupture?
Yeah. Rupture? Yeah, that's the one. I knew it was something like that. For some reason, I just forgot. But nothing going to come out of this play. Really, it's just the flash from Espada, and maybe they can capitalize on that later on.
Initially, it looked like Espada might, die greeting for that tower, but is able to live. And for that, Jacob's able to pick up the bot outer turret on the other side of the map. So yeah, some little bit of gold going back towards Syndicate in the form of those turrets going down. Well, the one turret. Other turrets maybe soon to follow.
I was watching that gold lead kind of drop under that 3K, and it looks like Syndicate kind of bringing it back up, like from taking the standing gold there from that bot turret. And it might even accelerate a little bit more. They might be able to hit about a 4 or 5K gold lead if they're able to get these last 2 turrets down, since they are so low. We'll see if Iceborn really wants to commit to the defense. Right now, it's just kind of Koopa solo. Do see channeling over the wall. Not going to go in. Haman Karn going to back off from that one. So, yeah, even more gold lead here being put up by Reboot card.
Really smart not to take that Q over the wall. That is a dangerous lineup they've got hitting that mid turret, and I don't think Corky has the damage to finish off whoever that Vi is able to lock down. So yeah, I think the game is going pretty much how Syndicate Reboot card wants it to. There's still a long road to victory, of course. It could easily swing either way, but there is a dragon coming up in a minute, which I expect to be a major point of pressure. Otacon has also spawned up topside, but I anticipate it'll be a little while longer before either team really feels confident enough to go for that one.
Yeah, right now I'm just waiting for more out of the Cho'Gath and the Rumble. Here's a fight here, though. Retail Row getting hit by the hook. Haman Karn now, though, might be in trouble. Yeah, gets devoured into the 5 other members. Immediately going to go down. Burns the Vi ultimate. Oh, still staying up for a while. Here comes a depth charge into the equalizer. Can they turn this around? OTF uses the feast on Mist, who goes down low. Koopa over the wall, trying to finish off the Lilia. But on the other side, it looks like Retail Row, Espada go in. Retail Row goes down, but Espada's in the 1v3. Jacob is untouched. The Syndra is outputting damage. And it will be Reboot card coming out on top. And on the other side, we did miss it, but Koopa does take down Measurable, and Mist avenges it. A lot going on there. 2 fights at once, essentially.
Such a close fight, so many low health bars, and I mean, I think it's the Rumble ult that really splits the fight there. You see 2 members of Syndicate Reboot card running down, and then 2 or 3 other members running into the river. So yeah, it's a very split fight, but it does end up being a 3-for-2 in favor of Syndicate Reboot card, and that's going to give them the second Ocean Drake here. Which, neither team has like a ton of poke, so I think the individual dragons aren't going to be so helpful. I mean, there's always, it's always nice to be able to regen while staying on the map. But if they're able to get that soul, I think that's going to be a big deal, just keeping them alive in these fights.
I feel like it's just like a common narrative of, oh, one team got the first 2 dragons and then they couldn't do anything else for the rest of the game. And I'm wondering if Iceborn maybe, sacrificed too much to secure all those early objectives. Although it didn't seem like that was really the case in the moment. But now just looking at the gold differential and how easy it looks for Reboot Card here, as they're going to make a play here on OTF, who's going to flash away, and they will get that top tier 1 and the flash from OTF and back on out.
So yeah, I don't want to like necessarily assume too much, but I do wonder almost if the roams from Quantum Force ended up actually hurting Iceborn more than they helped, because it seemed like for some of those early grubs, Syndicate Reboot Card wasn't really planning on contesting, and so that ended up sacrificing some pressure bot for not much concrete gain. But the Otacon's been started up here.
Yeah, and it is voracious still, despite some of that action we had in the past couple minutes or so. There is a contest looking over the wall. I'm on Karn, but not going to be able to get in, which means Reboot Card's about to get all these GAs, and they're going to take a fight that they won. A nice devour to counter the vial. Oh, look at that interaction. It still went off, but it doesn't matter. I'm on Karn once again in the middle of 5 enemy members. Will go down right away. And obviously, Stuckdaro on the other side without TPs, not going to join that fight. Maybe for the better.
Yeah, a little stuck down in the bottom lane, but that is a nice little bit of gold to get back. But I think that Syndicate Reboot Card is going to be more than happy to come away from that with the Otacon and the extra kill. A little bit of indecisiveness, it felt like, from Haman Karn. Kind of was thinking about queuing in, but then queued away, but then kind of walked towards the Otacon anyway to try to get the steal. And I think you've just got to maybe commit to going for that play a little earlier, and if you're going to be potentially throwing your life away anyway.
Yeah, and we saw Iceborn do like a cross-map play earlier in the game, and I guess, yeah, you really don't want to give the Otacon up, but it might have just been better for them to be like, okay, why aren't we pushing mid, If they get both tier 2s, that gold lead shortens up even more, and it might actually be a little bit more playable for that next dragon if they're able to take over that bot quadrant. So, I don't know. I mean, like you said, the indecisiveness is really what kills you in the end. It's either go in for the contest or do something else.
Yeah, because in the end, it ends up being kind of the worst of both worlds. Well, not complete worst. They did get that bot turret, which is a nice amount of gold onto this Rumble, who was already such a big player for them in the top side. But right now, I'm mostly looking at Koopa to finish that Muramana soon. And whoa.
Ooh, here's that damage from the Rumble. Still had the Equalizer and the Ignite, but decided to not quite use it yet. Didn't know what was behind that Renekton. It was a Tahm Kench. But with that, I mean, Reboot Card thinks they can start off this Baron. This might be a throw. They have some low health members, and they are on vision. See if Iceborn wants to really commit to the fight. Right now, they're kind of backing off, and they just want to stop that Baron threat and maybe play this dragon.
I like that Stuckdaro held a lot of those big cooldowns there, because this is, after all, the Otacon, revive buff that Syndicate Reboot Card has. So if you blow that Ignite and that ult just for Renekton to respawn in 15 seconds or whatever and TP in, I mean, that's giving over a lot of the threat that you have of stopping a Baron take. So yeah, I like holding onto those CDs. Means that Iceborn is able to kind of hold on a little bit longer, and yeah, stop Syndicate Reboot Card from taking that major objective.
Yeah, I definitely didn't forget that they had that on there, right? When I was like, oh, maybe they'll fight. Yeah, probably smart not to fight them there, because you're not going to get maximum gold, and they're going to be back on the map a lot faster than they should. But it will come down to the dragon, as all of those voracious Otacon buffs are wearing off, if not already gone. It looks like Retail Rose is gone, so that would make me think that they're all off. So we're going to actually have a nice 5v5 here. It's kind of Iceborn Hail Mary play. Can they get back in this game, or is it over? We'll see how it starts off. OTF in the front line gets a silence off, but they're going to have to buy some time for Stuckdar to get here. Save those spells, like you said, has the flash, has the ignite, has the equalizer, and this Rumble definitely is going to be max damage output and carry in this one. At least that's what I'm thinking.
It's a tough position for Iceborn right now, but I think if they're able to combo their abilities, as you said, that revive buff is gone, so they could definitely get a pick onto someone if they can layer that Rumble damage with all their CC. So contesting the river here.
Yeah, a bowling ball onto Corky, and here's the equalizer, but already down. is OTF as the fight ensues. It's not looking good for Iceborn Esports as they are all on the run. I don't even know what spells are being used, but Koopa, the last man standing here, is going to go down with the Lilting Lullaby. I don't know if we have replay. It's a triple kill for Measurable. It was kind of just like they were trying to walk in, and I mean, Syndra unleashed power, one-shot OTF, and the fight was already over.
And that's one of the weaknesses of this Cho'Gath build, going for full move speed, is you're not that tanky. Shurelya's doesn't give you that much in the way of survivability, and against the amount of magic damage that's on Syndicate Reboot card, neither does the Dead Man's Plate. So that Cho'Gath goes down extremely quick, and that's one of your key frontliners. Meanwhile, going back to the idea of this support gold, we saw how long Retail Row was able to stay alive in that fight, despite tanking, this Fed Rumble and a lot of the other members of Iceborn White. It survives most of the fight. It goes down at the very end, but I mean, able to get so much value out of that champion. And now it's looking really, really good for Syndicate Reboot card. This Dragon probably going to be theirs unless something goes really wrong. They still have the Spada up on the top side to make that cross map difficult. So yeah, I think this is, looking like they might be able to close this out in the next few minutes. Not few minutes. I think it's going to take them a little longer because there's still plenty of turrets up. But yeah, I want to see Iceborn make a decisive play, and it looks like they are up in the top lane as that turret goes down. But let's see if the Spada goes down too.
Yeah, they're going to be able to find the pick on a Spada, which will help them defend 5-on-4 against the Baron push. Although, they're using that Equalizer to kind of slow it down, and they're sending... Yeah, I was going to say, they are keeping some members there in the top lane, but if I'm Iceborn here, I don't care if we use 3-4 ults to kill that Renekton. We need to probably send something on this team before they respawn, before that Renekton's back on the map. Because it's looking grim. I mean... Your Hail Mary Dragonflight did not go in your favor. It really just came down to vision, I guess. I mean, there was really just no execution at all. They kind of just had to walk in to Reboot card, and they died trying. That's really it.
I think Iceborn really needs to play very decisively with this composition they've built. And we saw once again a little bit of hesitation there. By the time,
yeah, and OTF just goes right down. Unleashed Power wasn't even used. It was just Chain of Corruption into the Syndra combo. I mean, this is 3-item Varus, 3-item Syndra, 3-item Lilia. Everyone's at their 3-item spikes for the enemy team, and Iceborn's just not quite there yet.
Those item spikes, very key. The Varus has Terminus is a particularly strong item. I think makes him really hard to pick off early in those fights because of the additional defensive stats that it gives, and he's able to deal so much damage if he does get engaged on. And now Syndicate Reboot card is marching down towards this bot turret, looking to take that one out and move into the enemy base.
Yeah, they got the 4-1 split going on with Renekton taking it up mid, and this should be both inhibitors. I don't really see a way that Iceborn can contest, and I really don't see a way where they scale back into this one, as Haman Karn and Stuckdaro are getting tagged. A flash stun from Espada. Here's an Equalizer, but not much damage. Vi goes in, a Devour to save, and Retail Row. I mean, so much value out of the Tahm Kench ulti, and we keep seeing it. It seems like the counter comp is beating the nicer comp on paper, in my opinion. I really liked Iceborn's comp, but the counter picks are too strong, and Retail Row might just be a Tahm Kench god.
Tahm Kench gets so much value into a team that's really built around trying to get these opening picks in these fights. It's been really difficult for them to do that. And yeah, I think Tahm Kench is a huge component of that. They're not going to be able to steal away the blue buff. Playing it a little safe still. They've got the lead. They've got the game in their hands. No need to steal something, go for a really risky play. But Espada could be in some danger going for the enemy buff here.
Yeah, definitely don't need to do that. I guess it's a little fun to mess with the enemy jungler, especially when you're this far ahead. Probably still have the Dominus ulti available, so yeah, definitely. But doesn't want to get picked in a scenario like this, especially when your team's just kind of trying to end. I mean, they don't really need to wait for Soul or next Baron, although they might, but they should just be able to kind of siege down top and kind of walk it in for an end. It's really hard with the range of Syndra stun and the threat of the Varus ulti for Iceborn to actually defend these turrets, because the way their comp works is their defense is going in. they have to go in or burn the equalizer for wave clear.
Going in is pretty much a one-way ticket to death. So yeah, and I just also want to point out the levels here. Mist is 3 levels ahead of Haman Karm here. So
wow,
I mean that's the power of the power farming Lilia up like 70 CS now at this point. I mean once that champion gets rolling, it's really hard to deal with. And I think a lot of times it's closing out games is kind of tough. I think these power scaling champions do just get a lot of like almost guaranteed value.
We do get a nice dredge line and depth charge there onto Varus. Obviously going to be saved. Oh, not going to be saved by the Vow. I'm sorry. Measurable goes down. They get the pick, and Reboot card immediately backs off, which is, I mean, that stalls the game out a little bit for maybe contesting the dragon that spawns in 40 seconds and the Baron that spawns in 50. Now, I don't know if they can actually contest these objectives, but the game doesn't end in this moment now.
There's still super minions threatening the base, so getting the necessary setup around Dragon is going to be pretty tricky. But, Measurable is down right up until that objective spawns pretty much. So if there was any time to go for that Ocean Dragon, it would be now. They're marching down mid lane and probably going to try to contest the river a little bit. But, I mean, Syndra is so scary here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is definitely a fully splinter stacked Syndra with the execute on ulti. Jacob is a menace and might be drawing some Syndra bans for later on in the series. It looks like Iceborn's going to try to rush this down with Smite and a Cho'Gath Feast. They will secure it, so they'll deny the Dragon Soul, but a fight may ensue after. Mist is looking for it, the flash, and the Lilting Lullaby. The Drowsy's only on 2, but Mist is going to go down. No! Saved by Scatter the Weak. In the engage from Retail Row, Mist very low. Flashes will take down the enemy jungler, and Iceborn is not done, although TPing in the back, Espada is here. Jacob survives. There's a turn on Measurable, but Measurable is so fed with those items, and now Reboot card says, you thought, as they turn that fight around. AD carry shows up, TP in from Espada, saves the day, and this is probably game. Oh man, that actually looks scary.
OTF finds Measurable. They might be able to hold on. He was waiting in that bush, channeling the recall when the Varus just walks by unaware, it looked like on the mini map. And I think that's going to be a little bit longer that Iceborn White gets to play this game. From a very tough position, that fight was pretty much the best they've looked in the last 20 or so minutes.
Yeah,
I mean the gold lead is still 10,000 for the side of Syndicate Reboot card. Their base is in shambles, and but they have a point. If there's any way for Iceborn White to win the game, it is by securing that next dragon. I think it's going to be tough because if Syndicate Reboot card plays their cards right, they should be able to set up around these objectives and kill anyone that walks in. But if they are giving over free kills, it could get a little dicey for them. This game's definitely not over quite yet.
Yeah, I mean, if Iceborn wins this, they're kind of doing the impossible, and I mean, I'm here and I'm all for it. This is crazy. I actually thought the game was over. Yeah, well played by OTF to stall the game once again. I mean, this is the second time that I think Reboot card has sort of failed to end the game, has sort of made a blunder. We do have a pause here, and I don't know how long it's going to be. Oh, it's just a quick pause.
It's already back.
Alrighty. Cool.
I do want to point out that now Measurable has that Jack Show the Protean picked up, which is going to make picks like we saw in that top side much, much harder.
Mm-hmm.
Able to withstand a lot more of the damage from this Rumble, who is working towards the Void Staff eventually. Oh, is that another pause?
No, this is the aftershock of the pause.
Right.
Yeah.
It's still got to catch up a little bit. Yeah, I mean, 4 items for many of the members on the side of Syndicate Reboot card, while most of Iceborn is still sitting on 3. So that's a pretty significant lead. But I think Corky has hit level 16, has most of the core items completed, and now is able to deal a lot more damage and be a lot more of a threat. Because Varus very hard to kill, but has sacrificed a bit of damage in going for those tankier items.
Yeah, they were looking for some sort of pick, but it's going to be Retail Row doing the face checking here for Reboot card, and Iceborn doesn't want any of that, Tom Kench. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of resources. They really are looking for another pick on either Mist, Jacob, or Measurable to try to win the fight after. And yeah, Rumble has some items here. So does Cho'Gath. they're definitely going to try to contest this Baron, but it's already gone. They better get here soon.
Ooh,
Espada on the back to stop the enemy jungler from getting in. A Drowsy onto Haman card too, but it's going to be Reboot card getting off of the Baron as flashing over the wall to stay alive is Espada at Equalizer onto 3. Haman Karn going down low. The Scatter the Weak is doing so much damage. The Syndra's doing so much damage, but it's going to be Iceborn getting the first kill. They take down the enemy support. Retail Row has fallen. Mist here going super speed. But I mean, right now it just ends with a pick secured by Iceborn and Baron still sitting.
Yeah, I mean, that's, you know, they don't really get anything off of it in the short term, but that is, I think, going to help Iceborn reestablish some positioning on the map. Mist only landing the sleep on a one person, I think is, you know, not really what you want in these late game fights. I like the idea from Espada, but it ends up kind of baiting the rest of the team in when they might have been able to just finish the Baron if they, you know, stall out the enemy front line a little bit and just get that objective before they try to turn. Instead, it ends up feeling a little disjointed. And yeah, I mean, a little bit more time for Iceborn. But now it's Dragon coming up in 50 seconds. That might be where these teams turn their attention to instead of the Baron, because that's an objective that goes down much faster and is a lot easier to take if you're properly set up. So now we're going to see how they play that setup.
Yeah, I mean, this is, if the game wasn't already over, this could be the moment that it ends. One of these teams is going to pick up an Ocean Soul here. We saw in the last fight, Espada flashed out and Retail Row went down. I think the Corki and Rumble sort of cone damage coming out is just destroying the front line of Reboot card. Has Iceborn figured it out? Have they scaled enough to just win these team fights? It's looking like that might be the possibility, and they might be able to turn this one around from such a large gold deficit. They're each down about a full item. Here we go. Stuck Daro might be the one getting picked as Retail Row is going to turn their attention. Here comes the Equalizer, and immediately going down is the Rumble, but the fight ensues. Azonia's from Mist. OTF in the center trying to find some damage. A Drowsy onto 2. Haman Karn trying to do something, but will fall. Koopa unable to DPS. And it looks like Tilt Reboot card will finally secure that victory. A double kill for Measurable, looking for the triple, a TP in the base from Espada. And I think the game is over. No Dragon Soul for either team. It did not matter.
That's 4-0. TP's into the enemy base, and it looks like this is going to go down. And, you know, I think really well played from the side of Syndicate Reboot card to get that mid lane priority, kind of force Iceborn White to panic a little bit. Their team gets a little split. They're not quite sure how to respond, it felt like, and that gives them the opening kill they need on that Rumble. And that's going to be game number 1 over the side of Syndicate Reboot card.
Yeah, and we're here for a bit of a time, right? I mean, this is game 1 of 5 potential games. As Syndicate Reboot card does take number 1, and it was a hell of a game. I mean, I don't really have much else to say about it. We cast it. It was fun. We had a good time. We could look at some damage charts. It was that Rumble damage, dude, top of the charts. I mean, it's pretty cool.
Rumble doing a lot of damage despite kind of getting bullied. You know, he had the lead early, but I think that Syndicate really recognized the threat that was developing there and started sending lots of people to deal with it, which was, you know, a great way to shut down what could have been a much bigger problem.
Yeah, it's kind of an even spread on the other side. I mean, an MVP for this game, I'm not really sure. I really like the Syndra, but I really like just the bot lane for Reboot card. I mean, Retail Row, I mean, it's more, I don't want to say it's more the champion than the skill. It's obviously the person piloting the champion, but Tom Kench was such a great pick, and they played it super well. So, kind of hard to really decide an MVP for the game. So I'll save it for when the series ends, and I'll start picking an MVP bet when we get that far.
I agree there. It's tough to pick a single one here, but you know, it really felt like a team effort. I mean, lots of great performances with Jacob Deathless on the Syndra, 10 kills on the Varus, you know, and the Lilia doing so much work as well in these team fights.
Getting word that are we ready for draft 2 already? Oh, okay. We're not ready for draft 2, so we're gonna take a sweet little break, and we will be back for game 2 draft soon. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Sorry, I thought you said that it was ready.
like do 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 do, like do 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 crazy, oh 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 crazy, oh 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 crazy crazy, oh oh crazy, oh 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 crazy, do 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 crazy, do 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 crazy, do 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 crazy, do 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 crazy crazy, do do like do 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 do, like do 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 crazy, oh do do like do 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 do, like do 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 crazy, oh.
Welcome back, everyone. We are here, game number 2, Iceborn White, switching to blue side after taking a loss to Syndicate Reboot card. I'm MetaShift, and joining me, Freedom Potatoes.
Yeah,
and Cat.
Yeah, that's my cat in the background. He likes to sit nearby while I'm casting or doing stuff. So there he goes. But yeah, that was a intense game number 1. We saw Iceborn White, playing a lot for early objectives, but it seemed like that maybe hit them with a bit of a gold deficit that really hurt them in the mid game. And I'm curious to see if they're going to change up the game plan in this next game.
Yeah, not to pick on anybody. I was a little underwhelmed by the performance of Stuckdaro and the bot lane for Iceborn, or overwhelmed, or I liked the performance from the opposite parts there for Reboot card. So the one thing I will say in favor of Iceborn is it did look like Reboot card struggled to end the game. I mean, they made some kind of throws at the end, and it looked a little shady. So that bumpy road towards the end is kind of good news for Iceborn, meaning if you can get through a better early game, not just getting objectives, but also securing some gold, you might be able to catch Reboot card messing up, trying to secure a victory, and then hit him in that end game, hit him where it's late game.
I've got to agree with that. Like, these games can go pretty long, and so I think scaling gets a lot of value, unless you're playing against a team that really knows how to close out a game, which I think has quite yet been on display yet. But that could just be first game jitters. Maybe the teams will tighten up their mid to late game a little bit more in this next one. But yeah, if you're playing against a team that struggles to end, I think you might want to opt for a little bit more scaling. For me, I think that might mean switching away from gank heavy junglers like the Vi towards things like that Lilia, which can really farm up and become a menace as you go later on.
So it will be Iceborn first picking Cho'Gath yet again, blinding it and taking it away from Espada. I'm not sure if the Cho'Gath really worked for them in that first game. I mean, it was kind of getting super hard countered by Lilia and Syndra and some of the other champs, the Varus. Varus is not available this time, so Reboot card has to go with something like Jinx, but still going to keep that Syndra.
Syndra was a major player for them in that first game. Deathless was Jacob, and not getting a ton of kills, but getting a lot of setup. Unleashed power into Scatter the Weak, just providing a lot of AoE CC. And it looks like it's going to be a Ziggs picked up for Iceborn White. Curious if that's going to go down towards the bot lane to kind of try to apply some pressure into the Jinx early, or match into the Syndra and kind of try to make it harder for her to farm up and be a late game threat. So they are going to also grab the Vi here. And they kept the Cho'Gath from the early from the previous game, so a lot of pieces still the same for both sides. No major switch ups yet, but they're gonna grab the Lulu this time, so opting for more of an enchanter pick this time around.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see Retail Row on Lulu instead of Tahm Kench. Completely different champions, work completely different ways. I mean, Retail Row, from what I've seen, Kodos has been such a key component of Reboot card and how their team functions. Now going to be on an enchanter. I don't know if that's going to really affect them or not. I mean, Lulu's with one of the strongest, if not the strongest support on the patch. Has been for a few patches, so definitely a strong pick in Retail Row's hands, just not quite the type of champion I'm used to seeing.
Yeah, it's quite a switch up from the previous game, and now we're seeing more supports banned out by Syndicate Reboot card and some junglers taken away by Iceborn White, trying to maybe deny a little bit more of that engage for both sides. And it is going to be the Lilia grabbed up once again. We saw that doing tons of damage in the first game, scaling into quite the monster. So we'll see if the jungle matchup plays out the same way as it did, or if this time Iceborn White can pick up the early lead. They're also going to grab the Jace, so I'm assuming that's going to then mean Ziggs is down bot, Jace up top, and the Cho'Gath going to the mid lane once again. This is a pick I feel like you don't see too often in this elo bracket, but it can get a lot of value. There's still quite a bit of build flexibility, can go for a little bit more of a bruiser style or the full lethality, because Syndicate Reboot card has a very squishy comp right now. A lethality Jace I think could do some serious damage, but there is the front line picked up for them now in that Ornn, which can withstand a lot of that, pure armor penetration build if that is how the Jace decides to go.
So I'm not gonna lie, I was looking at Jinx Syndra as those first two picks, and I was like, I wonder if we'll get an Ornn here. It just kind of like screamed Ornn comp, and there it is at the end. I'm surprised it wasn't banned. Also, I'm surprised Vi wasn't banned. A lot of things in this draft that are weird. I mean, this isn't Fearless, so we see 4 of the same champions from game 1 here in game 2, and only one of those champions was banned. So it's not exactly the same, but a lot of similarities. We don't have Corki Nautilus, we have Ziggs Maokai. However, I don't know if I like this Maokai pick. We already saw Lulu, Syndra, and Lilia, and this Maokai could absolutely get one shot.
Yeah, Maokai does have the untargetability, which can dodge away from some of that burst when he uses that Twisted Advance, but it might play out a little similar to the Nautilus in the first game. You don't want to be engaging ahead of your team and giving Jinx that first kill in the fight. If she gets excited, she is going to be able to take over these fights. And the scaling for Syndicate Reboot card is so strong. So, we'll see if Iceborn White can play out this early game, a little more the way they want to. Again, they really want to get an early lead here and establish dominance on the map, get some objectives down, and probably try to close things out pretty early. It felt like they struggled with that a little bit in the first game, but these change-ups could turn things around for them.
Yeah, we did see a 5-man invade. It looks like Iceborn had a clear game plan from base. They run in, they get the wards down on the red and the Raptors. However, they were spotted, and there is the counter ward on Raptors done by Reboot card. Retail Row and Measurable in the bush there and gets spotted by a sapling. The power of Maokai. Look at that. Ooh, and a little
Good
poke
job.
from the Ziggs.
Good job not face checking. That early bush priority can be really valuable, but in this case, it's just spotted out by the sapling and it kind of returns things to a pretty neutral state. I kind of want to see Quantum Force maybe hitting the wave a little bit to try to get a little more priority. I mean, it is risky when you're a melee champion. You don't want to just be tanking 2 champions worth of damage while
Yeah.
you're in that wave. But I mean, we saw that in the first game, Syndicate Reboot card was able to get level 2 and immediately convert that into First Blood. So I'm expecting Iceborn to play a little more safe around that level up timer this time around. Hopefully they learned their lesson from the first one. But yeah, I mean, you with the Ziggs, you do want to be taking priority, and yes, it's a little harder to get it at level 1, but sooner or later, I'm expecting that bot lane for Iceborn White to be taking a little more control.
Yeah, I mean, eventually it's going to be measurable in retail row under their turret, trying to just survive the perma push from Ziggs, and I guess Maokai will look to roam and dominate the map with the vision, the saplings. That's probably the game plan. As for the state of top lane, I mean, the Jace into Ornn matchup looks to be favored for Daro for now. Obviously, Espada's just going to be here to scale. The damage spread, it's kind of just like a Jinx only physical damage comp for them.
That's kind of something that Jinx likes, though.
If
she gets to be the threat, and everyone is stacking up MR to deal with this Syndra and the Lilia. I mean, she gets to go crazy in those team fights. And on the other side, I think Iceborn's got a little bit more well-rounded of a team composition. Again, this Jace Ornn matchup is a pretty interesting one to me. I think Jace has the obvious upper hand early, being able to be a bit more of a lane bully. But I think depending on especially how he builds, the matchup can be pretty tough going later into the game when Ornn can just like soak up those empowered shock blasts for his team. So curious to see how this plays out. I'd like to see the Jace get ahead and be a side lane threat, kind of like the Rumble was in the first game. I mean, we saw that Syndicate was really able to shut that pick down going into the mid game, but it does seem like Stuck Daro is a kind of a point of pressure that Iceborn White can play around.
Yeah, the junglers both did their full clear into a scuttle. This time, Mist is actually the first one to the bot scuttle, and we'll pick that up, forcing Haman Karn to go topside and grab that. So it's going to be Mist backing for those Faded Ashes and starting their second clear well before Haman Karn. And Lilia is the tempo jungler compared to Vi, so Mist is going to have a slight lead here. Might hit 6 first, and might be the first one on that Dragon or Grubs, depending on what Reboot card wants to go for.
Looks like we see Vi up towards the top side, and the spot is out of mana, so that could turn into a gank.
Ooh, yeah, it's a flash knock up by Haman Karn, and it's an easy first blood. It's going to be picked up by Haman Karn, which, I don't know, it kind of leaves Daro here to push this out solo with low health, low mana, which could be a little dangerous. Going to take that recall on a bad wave. Maybe a little bit of a misplay there by them. Honestly, that gank almost becomes not worth if Espada can hold that freeze. Stuck Daro is going to immediately TP, though, to make sure that does not happen.
And Espada holds the flash, too. So
I see the dragon.
Might be able to get out of any future ganks. But yeah, that's going to be answered on the other side of the map by Syndicate Reboot card, picking up this Ocean Drake. I think that's one of the best dragons you can get in the early game. That regen can be so valuable if you are in a matchup where you might be getting poked out. OPS 27 is so fast. What? those early symbiotic souls. It's a build that's been popping up a lot lately as is getting chunked out. But no level 6 on Espada means the kill doesn't come through quite yet. But he could hit it off of this wave right here. And if he does, Stuck Daro is going to be in some danger.
Like I was saying, they got the kill on the gank, but the wave was terrible. They needed to push that in, and even though Daro TP'd back, Espada's still holding that freeze, and like you said, as soon as his Ornn hits 6, if Daro walks back in the lane at even half HP, like I don't even think these fruits matter. This could be a dead Jace.
Yeah, gonna have to, maybe get a well-timed flash on the Ornn ult or something if that does come through. Seeing the Grubs go down might mean that Espada chooses to play a little safer, but as soon as that Vi shows on vision, there's there's gonna be an opening for this Ornn to look for a play. But we do see Stuck Daro playing pretty far back. I think they might look for Mist in the bot river. Never mind, I'm gonna call that off.
Surprised we don't see Quantum Force flashing there. Get that twisted advance. Pop them back towards the team. But may have been a little overzealous. I mean, there are teammates of Mist around. Could have been a bad play. I just like to see something.
Yeah, I'd like to see a little more action. You know, again, I think Iceborn's comp wants to mostly play aggressive in the early game and turn that into some mid-game skirmishes. So would like to see them, yeah, take the game into their own hands a little more. You know, I'd like. I mean, it's tough from the current state of the lane, but I would really like to see this Jace getting a bit more of a lead in the 1v1. But despite the first kill, you know, since that gold goes onto the Vi, it feels like Jace is actually ending up a little bit behind here. Look how much armor that Horn has. I mean, it's just so tough to really deal the damage that you want to in this matchup. Spada playing in the bush.
Oh, here it is. Here comes a call to Forge God. It's going to be flashed, like you said, so there was an outplay option. But now for that next call to Forge God, it's going to be a flashless Jace, and if Mist wants to come up there for that one, that might be a kill.
Definitely a kill angle available if the Lilia goes over there, and OTF manages to stop Jacob's back. That's going to be nice for the tempo. I mean, this is a tempo Cho'Gath build. The Symbiotic Souls means you can reset and get back on the map way faster than your opponent. It's quite frustrating to play against a champion like Cho'Gath, who already has so much sustain, when you can say, oh, you finally managed to chunk me out? Well, I'm just going to go back. And Sluckdaro continuing to struggle a little bit. I mean, his autos just don't do that much damage to the Ornn, who has the Bramble Vest and the Chain Vest early on. But OTF 27 is walking up here.
Yeah, OTF showing up in the top lane, trying to help Daro out. Even the pressure here to help this Jace crash the wave is very, very good, because Daro knows that in 30 seconds or so, he's probably dead. Oh, Espada's just going to hold that. What are they doing? They're going to give it to him. OTF says, oh, my bad. Hold on. Let me make sure this gets in. Espada's like, I might just tank this and still hold it right outside of turret.
Yeah, just dancing around those Qs. Not taking too much damage, and going to be able to reset pretty nicely here. A little bit behind on tempo, but I mean, actually not going to take the reset. See how long Espada chooses to stay there. Haman Karn might look for a gank in the bot side here. Charging the Q up, and here comes a Maokai ult.
Yeah, here comes the Nature's Grasp. Retail Rose going to get hit by it. Going to actually deny the combo, but it doesn't matter. Oh, it does matter, because buying some time to flash on out of there. A lot of ultimates used. All 3 ultimates used for Iceborn means this fight is over. Measurable still has Super Mega Death Rocket and Barrier, but that's a lot of summoner spells. Both flashes and the heal. Might be a good repeat gank bot lane soon here if Iceborn chooses to do so.
Definitely would like to see a repeat gank. You know, the Lulu ult's going to be on cooldown for, I don't remember exactly how long, but it's that's a pretty key cooldown as well. Would like to see the CC layered a little bit better on the side of Iceborn. I think, there's no reason that they should be able to flash out of that Ziggs ult when there's so much CC available. That might just need to come through a little sooner, but still, will enable some pressure, even if it just means that this next dragon in 20 seconds is a scarier fight for Syndicate Reboot card. That's also value, is making it scary for your opponents to walk in and have to seed pressure, and that can ultimately turn into an objective. But this wave state that Espada has been able to get, I mean, is just racking up a lot of farm in the early game, getting very ahead on this Ornn. Not very ahead, more ahead than I think Ornn should be right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely hitting myself in the head going like, well, that gank actually kind of hurt top lane. Daro's not doing too hot. Espada's big chilling on the Ornn, and despite being 0-1, like even the kill for Vi, I mean, Haman Karn is well behind Mist. Mist is also really chilling and gonna use that lilting lullaby. Call the Forge God from downtown. The blast plan is there, but it is not gonna be gotten to, as Jacob's gonna pick up that kill there on OTF, who was solo contesting these grubs. All 3 grubs gonna go over to Reboot card.
And it feels like this Cho'Gath is kind of struggling here. I mean, it wasn't necessarily a bad pick in the first game. It's, wow, there's another fight down bot side.
Yeah, here's that repeat gank. Measurable gonna get ulted and put in the twisted advance, and now the Maokai ult comes out as well. Haman Karn might go down. Haman Karn lives, which is huge for Iceborn. Retail Row will escape. They are deep in the bot lane here, but nobody from Reboot card is rotating, so going to be a free push here for the Ziggs. However, the rest of the map is kind of falling apart.
That's a big kill. I mean, that is the singular AD carry on the side of Syndicate. Reboot card down and missing a lot of farm here. So definitely a nice play for the side of Iceborn. But I mean, it's Syndra is continuing to get ahead, and that's a flash from
flash forward because the jungler is on the way, but Daro's flash is back up. So it's a flash for flash in top lane. As Espada once again is sitting pretty up here, feeling really good, feeling really strong in this matchup. Has the XP lead, has the item lead, and is gonna get some bonks on turret, maybe. No, just a TP out of Daro.
Just the TP, but I mean, these little advantages build up a lot over time. That's now 15 CS ahead for the Ornn, and probably going to be a first item completed pretty soon here. Not quite yet. But
what is that build? Yeah, we were going Thornmail, but now we're going Deadman's?
Well, you don't see Thornmail first item very much, so I do think it's going to be the Bramble into the Deadman's.
Deadman's Ornn. I don't even know if I see that very often.
Yeah, that's also a little unusual, but I guess the idea there maybe is, Jace doesn't have a lot of CC, so the extra move speed that's giving you is going to help you space that kind of ranged matchup a lot better, and get into range to drop your CC first and take those heavy trades, whereas Jace kind of wants to play things out a little slower, gradually whittle you down over time. But
no way, it's Hullbreaker Ornn, right? I mean, the side lane pressure is going really well for him. We are getting another play bot, if that's what you're going to say. Measurable takes a huge poke there, which means this dive is going to be so easy. A TP in from Jacob might save the day. They immediately go on Koopa. Koopa's going to go down. A reset for Measurable to dodge the Ziggs ulti. Retail Row using the Wild Growth to save themselves. Measurable's going to use that excited passive to run away. Will they be able to catch? Oh, the sapling slows Jacob, but a nice scatter the weak. Oh, Measurable does get tagged by the Nature's Grasp, and there's the Viol to follow. OTF will pick up the kill. I mean, it's not as bad as it could be. Jacob's TP in actually, I think, did help.
That helped a lot, but it still is the feat of warfare claimed for the side of Iceborn, which means, depending on how things play out, those feats of strength might be going in their favor. And it is a 2-for-1 trade. I mean, Jacob is getting huge on the
my god. Espada going for it under turret. Does get the second cast of Call the Forge God. The damage, is it there? Under the turret. One more pop. The auto. Bang. Espada with a solo kill right outside, if not under that turret. We saw it coming for a while.
That was a long time in the making, but it does turn into a kill for the Ornn. It doesn't even need the help of the Lilia, and honestly, maybe you're happy to give that kill to the Ornn instead of the Lilia. I mean, she's going to be a big problem anyway. You already see she's 60 CS ahead.
Yeah.
That is
my god,
a massive lead. And the Vi has gotten more value this game than the last one. So I am liking a little bit how they're playing that pick out. They've found these kills in the bottom lane. The items are not totally in Lilia's favor right now, but I still am a little scared of that champion continuing to scale up as this game goes on. I mean, the scaling is so favorable for Reboot card here. But now the lanes are going to switch around a little bit. We've got 2 people down bot lane into the Syndra. The bot lane for Reboot card has moved over to mid to try to knock that down maybe. And there's a dragon coming up in 30 seconds, which is probably going to be the main point of action in the next bit.
Yeah, I mean, the change from the last game to this game is the fact that, Iceborn, they didn't get every single early objective, but they're tied 2-2, and they're not down 3,000 gold. They're probably feeling okay. A lot of that gold deficit's going to be up there in the top lane, which is not really important right now. I mean, it's also in the jungle, so that's like the main thing. The main concern is how much of a threat is the Lilia, but they have leads in the bot lane, and with Jinx being solo AD damage, slap some MR on there, keep killing Jinx, and take the fight after, if they even want to take those fights like that. The cool thing about Maokai ult and a Ziggs is they don't even have to go in, and that's what the Jace does too. They can just shoot from afar, take someone out, and continue to siege. Oh, that is
speaking of going in.
That is not what they want to do, though, is lose their mid laner to the Ornn. Espada. Espada's my new MVP. It's just a top gap. It's a 1v9 top lane problem here. No.
He is a rock on this Ornn, and I mean, kind of on the knowledge of like player histories. I feel like OTF 27 is someone who's a very aggressive mid laner who's proficient on like champions that really go in. So I'm not sure if I'm a fan of this Cho'Gath. I mean, it's gotten more, again, like the Vi, it's gotten more value in this game than the previous one, but I still might want to see something that feels a little more dynamic and isn't so centered around, playing for tempo and kind of being annoying. I want to see a little more from this player based on what I've seen in the past.
With the Herald going down first, I think that is the feats of strength going to Iceborn.
Yeah, that should be the feats of strength, and that will be a nice little boost, extra move speed, gonna help them make these rotates, and all those other little bonuses for the various boots that they've got picked up as well. Yeah, gonna help them, those Merc Treads, weather the storm of all that AP damage that Reboot card has. And yeah, I mean, it's not game deciding, but it's a start.
Yeah, back on your last note, like, I don't hate the Vi pick and I don't hate the Cho'Gath pick, but why are they running it back into into Lilia and Syndra? I feel like maybe on paper they're supposed to win, but it didn't go great last game, and I feel like either change your picks or take out theirs. Don't what's that called? Salty run back. Yeah, don't salty run back here in the best of 5 quarterfinals match. We don't want to be doing that. I mean, unless it works, maybe try to destroy those picks. So you don't have to keep banning them for the rest of the series.
Exactly. I mean, you can one salty run back is okay, but if it doesn't work out this time, I think they're going to need to make some major changes.
Please don't do it a third time.
Yeah.
It just ends as a 3-0 salty run back. Yeah.
I mean, the other thing that's kind of interesting to me is the Cho'Gath running the Hail of Blades in a melee versus ranged matchup. Like, that's runes are sometimes minor details, but it feels like that's pretty hard to reliably proc in lane. And you also have the option of going for something like the Comet that you can proc off of that Q and doesn't require as much of a investment into walking into melee range on a champion that has pretty good self heal. But now there's a dive coming down on a Jacob.
A dive here on the Jacob. Yeah, both ultimates being used, and the Feast will finish off and secure the kill. But now Haman Karn will probably be a trade kill avenged by Retail Row. Call the Forge God onto OTF. Oh my pop! Espada will take him down. The big choo-choo Ornn. I mean, he's huge.
Ornn is taking over this game. I mean, just evaporating the health bar of that Cho'Gath. This is I mean, it's not a tank Cho'Gath. He takes a lot of damage. So it's Espada is playing that tank assassin carry role all at once right now. And hasn't even, is just starting to get those item upgrades online, which are going to be so beneficial for the side of Syndicate Reboot card. But, again, Iceborn's playing proactively, and I do like that, but I don't know if it's quite enough in this game.
Yeah, looking at the gold, I mean, it's Cho'Gath and Syndra tied even almost at a little bit over 8K, but they are massive here, and it's going to be super hard for Iceborn to play into this. Flashing away from Espada is Koopa, or not Koopa. Who was that?
That Espada used.
Oh, Espada was flashing in on the Koopa, and Koopa got out.
Yeah, Koopa used that satchel charge perfectly, interrupting the dash from the Ornn and building some space for themselves. So, Espada maybe feeling the hype a little too much.
Don't need flash. You got the Dead Man's. Yeah. I mean, Dead Man's Ornn might be my new favorite tech that I found here in the Conqueror division. I don't know.
It seems like it's working. I mean, if you get a lead on this champion, you can do so much damage, and potentially set up basically a one-shot combo. So if your main challenge is just getting into range, then the Dead Man's offers so much value.
Yeah, there's that almost 3K gold lead. Not quite there yet, but it is being slowly established by Reboot card, and they're looking to get maybe this mid turret or mid prio here for the next objective. It is going to be a Cloud Drake in a minute, but Otacon also sitting down there bot lane. If there was a really bad team fight here, one of these teams could pick up both objectives, and that could be a scary turn for this game.
I think this next team fight is going to be a huge deciding factor in who ultimately wins this game. Syndicate Reboot card up a little bit, but I think Iceborn has a very solid chance in these fights. We see Ziggs is on 2 items right now, and Jinx is not yet finished that Infinity Edge. And I think that's a big deal. That's a lot of
Shirogan.
DPS that is missing for the side of Syndicate Reboot card. And now they're going to engage on the Ornn.
Yeah, Amon
Shirogan.
Karn getting some damage on a Spada. That's a pretty big chunk from the Ornn here, which could help them easily secure the dragon. One good thing about that little chunk is the fact they have this poke comp with the Maokai ult and with Ziggs and Jace damage as Suckdaro is rotating down. They're going to use the Herald on mid. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see Nature's Grass come out. Oh, Haman Karn actually rides it in and immediately gets called the Forge God, but the fight is going the other way as Iceborn is landing all that poke. A huge Ziggs ultimate TPing in is Jacob. Nobody fell. They all survived, but like I said, the poke comp, can they really walk in and risk getting chunked off of a Jace upgraded Q or even just the Ziggs poke? I mean, they die if they try to walk in here, right?
I think they will die if they walk in here. You know, we saw Lilia and Ornn both having to reset, and that's exactly how you want the fights to go for Iceborn. I mean, it looked a little scary at first with the Ornn ulting, but I think it was just onto the Vi, and they were able to land lockdown onto multiple people with the Ziggs ult for follow-up. And, you know, if he just has a little bit more AP, that's like an instant double with the Mega Inferno Bond. He's going to get the turret, but now I think that might be an overextension. Jinx flashing in.
Yeah, Measurable's going to get that kill and the reset. Looking for another on Haman Karn. Going to be a double. Actually, it's going to be Miss picking that up, but well played by Measurable, who obviously got shut down early. We haven't seen much, but there it is. There's the Jinx, finding some gold, setting up a play, snagging 2 kills for the team. And this could now be Otacon. So Iceborn, you know, they got the dragon, and then they maybe overextended for that mid turret. Koopa gets picked. And they lose Otacon. I was about to say, it was looking so good for them, too.
It was. I mean, you know, I'd maybe call Worth on that play if it happened like 10 minutes ago, and that's first turret to give you feats, you know, and you're just giving 1 life over. But that's 2 kills in Otacon in exchange for just the mid-outer turret and the flash on your main carry. That is very needlessly aggressive, I think. You know, I've been there on the Ziggs. You see the little blinking health bar, the little satchel indicator above the turret, and you want that proc. It feels so good to take down a turret and use that part of your kit, but it can be very deadly if you get a little greedy there, and that's exactly what happened. So, you know, what was looking really good for Iceborn turns into a pretty favorable situation for Syndicate Reboot card now.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of now at that point that they were in last game, and I'm sure they're feeling really confident from this spot, right? They're up to 3k gold. They're tied 2 dragons to 2 dragons, and, I mean, they have Voracious Otacon buff. We literally saw this last game. Maybe even the gold lead was slightly higher at this point. So, with that, Reboot card's been here with Lilia, with Syndra, with the frontline top, and with a hyper carry DC. I mean, I feel like it's just a rinse repeat. Maybe this time they don't have some of those late game throws and they end it a little bit cleaner. But I mean, for them, it should be easy, right? They've been in this spot. They were just in this spot.
And so far, that Otacon buff hasn't gotten too much value. Just a 1-for-1 turret trade, bottom outer for middle inner. But there's still some time left on that buff, so we'll see if they can turn it into anything. Baron has just come up, but I don't think they're going to feel confident enough to just throw themselves at that objective until they're maybe able to find an opening pick or get some pressure on the side lane, you know, blow someone's teleport, be able to force a 4v5, something like that. So this might be another case of that buff just running out, and that is why it can be a little, you know, tougher to use. Kind of in this ELO bracket, I would say you want to be very decisive and I think make some plays with it to get the maximum value out of that. If you're just collecting farm, it's not as effective.
I for sure agree. I think it's really hard to kind of pull it off, even in like Vanquisher, because what you're gonna run into is, okay, we got the buff, we reset. All right, let's push out all our waves and then overload one side as a team because we have this buff. But you always have someone like, well, I want to catch this jungle camp, or I want to catch this next wave as well. And it's so slow, and then you keep setting yourself back another wave, 30 seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds, until eventually you don't have the buff anymore. So it's really, like you said, you got to be super decisive. It doesn't even have to be an ELO bracket thing. It's just the team needs to decide right off the grip. Stop farming. We're using it.
it feels so perfect that like as you're saying that, we literally see Measurable standing still dancing in mid lane and the buff wears off. It's like that's exactly what happens. You know, the teams aren't perfectly synced up, and now we've got a pause coming through. Hopefully that will be back in the game shortly.
Thank God.
Yeah.
I have animal problems right now. I don't even know if you can hear me.
I think you're still audible on broadcast, but yeah. So taking kind of a snapshot of the game state right now, yeah, objectives pretty even. That Otacon buff has just worn off. It's just a little over 2,000 gold in favor of Syndicate Reboot card, and you know, major objectives coming up are the Dragon in 1 minute and the Baron that's live now. My guess for what's going to happen is that there's going to be a big fight at Dragon, and whoever wins that could pick up that objective and the Baron whenever whenever we see that, you know, whenever we're back in the game.
Yeah, my read on this game is if Reboot card wins this next fight, it might just be that's game. But if Iceborn wins the fight, then we have a game that continues on. Because right now, I mean, it's Reboot card in the driver's seat, despite not really using that voracious Otacon. They definitely have that momentum. I mean, we're almost at that 100 CS gap in the jungle. But I like to see that the Cho'Gath pick is a little bit more like there this time around, and their comp is seemingly working. I mean, they had some good fights, and they also had really good dives bot lane. So I just want to see the Maokai ult into the combo of all that poke damage coming out. And maybe they hold pull in the trigger. I feel like Hamankar needs to kind of just sit back and wait. Same with OTF. They kind of just need to wait. Maybe act as a front line, but let that poke come through.
I agree there. And talking about the bot dives, when I was doing a little bit of research into these teams, looking at their match history and their stats a little bit, it seemed to me like bot lane is where Iceborn has a little bit more of the edge historically. I don't think we've seen this exact matchup play out before, but just based on statistics. And so I was feeling that playing for Koopa and Quantum Force was kind of going to be their win condition, and I like that that's where they went this game. You know, it could maybe be going a little better in that department, but I think that feels like it might be kind of their go-to strategy. And so, yeah, playing a little more for that, I definitely like to see.
Yeah, I mean, this pause is absolutely awesome for casting. I love it. There's so much action going on right now. I don't know how long this pause is, if we should cut to an intermission or what. I don't know what we do during long pauses, but
until that intermission happens, we gotta
say stuff. Well, how is your day going?
it's going pretty good, you know. I mean, All
right, we're gonna go to intermission.
Always
we don't care about Freedom Potatoes Day. We don't care.
Oh, come on.
Oh, we're back.
We're back, actually.
Oh, we do care about your day.
It's going to be a little bit of jostling around as we get back into the game here. But yeah, I mean, you know, looking at the power spikes here, also the Cho'Gath is on 3 items. Syndra not quite there yet. Her items are a bit more expensive, so once she does hit that death cap, I think she's going to be solidly ahead in that matchup. And yeah, that's really I think one of the focal points of like our 4 Syndicate Reboot card is that upgrade coming in. Now, another thing to note is that Syndra has the Cosmic Drive upgraded, and that gets a lot of value, especially when you're playing against, you know, this Cho'Gath that's built some move speed, being able to be a little more slippery. But I think generally speaking, you want that to go onto the death cap, and so I wonder if it would have made more sense for Espada to upgrade someone else and let Jacob get that item completed before giving that over. You know, that's one of those little details that can matter a lot when you're playing for late game with this Ornn.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure you probably don't get any movement speed, so you just get AP and then health instead of getting just full AP. I would definitely agree with that.
You might get another like 1 or 2%
haste.
move speed. I'm not exactly sure. I'm kind of curious about that now, because I think it's supposed to amplify all the base stats of that item a little bit.
Cosmic Drive Ornn upgrade. I am curious. Now.
They like removed all the special unique names from that too, I think, right?
Yeah, it doesn't have a unique name.
Okay. No extra move speed. It's just the ability. AP, health,
no move
speed.
Yeah.
I mean that would make it a bit more of an enticing buy, but without that move speed, I do think it's a little bit wasted. Oh, Espada's going in though.
Okay, we have the call of the Forge God. We have Nature's Grass, the counter, but this means the poke is kind of denied because the fight ensues. But Espada is going down low. OTF getting stunned up by Scatter the Weak. Espada off to the side, might be the first to fall. Gonna run around the corner with that dead man's plate, and it seems like that overall burst and engage has been nullified, which is good news for Iceborn. We've been here before. Can they contest? Can they walk into that poke? Retail Row leading the pack. Jacob trying to get more poke down. Feast is available, so Feast Smite combo can secure this dragon if it gets low enough. Espada landing the knock up there on OTF. OTF flashing away as Unleash Power. It wasn't Unleash Power. Unleash Power is still available. Here's the Smite Ignite, Smite Feast combo. They do secure the dragon, and they are flashing away. Oh, three-man bowling ball into the Drowsy, and they're running away. Jacob off to the side will finish off Haman Karn. They already got the pick onto OTF. A nice scatter of the week on stuck Daro. A knockup from Espada to follow, and Koopa and Quantum Force are stuck. We're in a spot they can't get out. They are pinched. And Reboot card will run them down.
There's the Lilia value coming through. That Swirl Seed into Lilting Lullaby finds 3, and that sets up an easy team fight win for Syndicate Reboot card. But Iceborn did get the dragon, which is going to put them on Soul Point, and I think they were maybe able to stall those deaths out enough that they're not going to be able to grab the Baron quite yet either. So overall, yes, it gives over some gold, but there's still that win condition kind of in the back pocket for Iceborn if they're able to secure another dragon. And I really liked how that started for Iceborn too. They were playing around their poke really well. You know, we saw Espada take a pretty snappy engage with the ultimate, and they didn't overcommit. That's something you want to be really careful about with a poke comp is not going, getting too aggressive too early and getting into those ranges where your poke isn't as valuable, and these tankier, scrappier members are more at home for the other side. But yeah, then it takes them a little while to finish off the dragon. I think they didn't play their zone control quite perfectly towards the later end of that, and then it's the Lilia just takes over.
Yeah, I was actually gonna say, looking at cooldowns, I mean, Maokai was still on a 20-second death timer, and Nature's Grasp ultimate was back up. So because Call the Forge God and Maokai started off that fight, and the fight ensued for quite some time, it might have been, and I'm definitely thinking it was, the play is just to back off the dragon, continue to poke, and just wait for that cooldown to come back, instead of kind of holding your ground and trying to force the dragon. I mean, they do secure the dragon, but I don't think they had to finish the dragon right then and there. I think they could have waited on it, continued to poke, and played that zone control like you said. And if that Maokai ult comes back up, it's a free win on that fight.
Gotta agree with you there. I think, once the dragon gets to a certain HP value, then you've kind of got to commit to the finish, because then if you back off, you're giving over the risk of a steal. But I think they could have held the damage a little bit earlier. Force Syndicate Reboot card to come into those chokes and play around the Ziggs and the Cho'Gath, who are so threatening. As those Qs get spammed, if you get knocked up or tagged with enough Ziggs damage, it's so much harder to walk in. And yeah, instead I think they kind of force the issue. Yes, you have a really good secure with the Smite Feast. That pretty much guarantees the objective, but the fight afterwards is so losing that now Syndicate's got a 6,000 gold lead, and they're looking to start this Baron up.
Yeah. And, if they're starting this up and it gets to a point where it's pull the trigger, there's not much time to poke, although this Baron is doing so much damage. Here comes Call of the Forge God again, Nature's Grasp in response. It's flashed by Quantum Force. They're trying to put the damage on Espada. In the backline, Retail Row is super low. Missed and Measurable already took some poke, and now giving up space is Reboot card. They're on the run. Again, Retail Row is low. Espada is the one that they're focusing, going down to half HP. Here comes the ulti engage here onto Miss, the follow-up from the Ziggs ult. The damage isn't quite there. Haman Karn will go down. The reset for Measurable. Here comes OTF, TPing in, immediate feast on Measurable, kites it back. They're playing for their poke. OTF in the front, Quantum Force off to the side. I'm watching that timer on the Maokai ult. It's not as fast as I thought, but it's almost halfway. Here, Espada finds the pick on Quantum Force. Jacob with the combo on top. And now it's 3v5 on the map. They still have 2 of their poke champions. They can still maybe get them off the Baron, but with OTF recalling... Jinx Rocket puts it to an end! Oh, man, there is no
in the way too.
Measurable finds the pick, and Jacob finds the other. Koopa and Stuckdaro go down. The Baron is secured, and Syndicate, looking like they take the victory here. Another 10k gold lead. Yeah.
Yeah, and it started off looking so good for Iceborn. Once again, they had the 4v4, and they had, I think they really had Syndicate on the back foot. They were getting some of that poke down. They were tanking Baron. They were kind of forced to play in that way, to just run away. But little personal thing here is I think Koopa should have thrown that Zigzal a lot sooner. There's not a lot
Yeah,
of
it didn't. I don't think
mobility
it hit the
on the side of
sweet spot.
well, yeah, and to me, I play a decent amount of Zig, so at least where my eyes were going during that fight, it was like as Syndicate's running away from that Baron, I'm just internally screaming like Koopa, ult them, because it's like if they turn around to dodge the Zigzal, then they are getting hit by a Cho'Gath or a Vi ult or a whole host of other threats that exist for that team. And instead of the Zigzal was kind of held, and Syndicate was able to get some of those like cooldowns back, like the shield for the Lulu and things like that, and just turn around. I see the idea where you want to hold the Ziggs for some lockdown, yes, but I think you can kind of think about like soft lockdown where it's like, if you try to dodge, you're going to die either way. And with like the zone control that the rest of the team has. That's, again, maybe a small thing I'm fixating on too much, but there's another.
All the Forge God onto OTF, has the movement speed to maybe run out, dodges the Chompers, still on the run, has a Blast Plant, should be good to go. Again, we see Espada maybe a little too confident, overzealous thoughts on the play. Trying to make something impossible happen, and
Flash from Measurable expended on the Jinx just to get in zap range. It's not enough to slow down this very fast Cho'Gath, so that's two major cooldowns burned. They still have the Baron, so they're going to be able to apply a lot of pressure, but I think they would have liked to have Jinx be able to play a little more aggro with the flash up and definitely having the Ornn ult.
Oh, and there, a flashless Jinx gonna get picked off. It's going to be the Zigzal finishing him off. The Nature's Grass comes through. It's going to be Retail Row off to the side going next. Stuckdaro putting in the damage to secure that kill. It's going to be Koopa picking it up, and they will poke as well. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what all that was, right? We have random flashes from Espada and Measurable. We have a wasted call to Forge God. And again, I mean, Reboot card, they're looking to end the game, and they have a small throw. But they're still up 10K.
We'll see if it ends up mattering. I mean, still about 4 minutes until that next dragon, so these deaths won't matter too much. It does stall out a lot of their opportunity to close out the game with the Baron buff. But yeah, and I think that's 2 shutdowns going over to Koopa also. He's getting really aggressive on this turret, which could be dangerous. It looks like Jacob maybe didn't have the Scout of the Week to follow up.
Here's the Swirl Seed into the 3-man Drowsy and a 2-man Call to Forge God. They land the combo, but does it matter? Is it enough? Jeff turns it around and face on Lilia. Eats up that deer, likes venison, I guess.
Here comes the ult.
Oh, and there's the Jinx Rocket. Does not quite land. So, does not land. OTF will.
And that's almost 1,000 gold over to OTF. I think that was like 950 on the shutdown. So,
yeah,
yet another big infusion of gold. I mean, it cuts the lead down from 10,000 to like 7,500 overall.
That's
that play,
crazy swing. Like, that is a crazy swing.
Like it might not be enough, but it's it's
something.
It's certainly something.
And here might be more. I mean, Vi Ultimate Assault and Battery, Cease and Desist. I don't know what it's called anymore. I think they changed it, or I'm just stupid. I gotta look that one up. Cease and Desist is available. Yeah, Assault and Battery probably was that not it? I feel like it might have been.
I don't remember now. Yeah,
I think they changed it.
But they probably changed it.
Metashift's been playing the game too long. A Rat-a-tat-tat, they got rid of that one.
that one honestly was like
terrible.
The saddest one to me. I liked Rat-a-tat-tat. That one that had some whimsy to it. I'm all about whimsy.
Okay. I like it. It's funny, but it makes more sense. I think. Yeah, we got another pause. Are we checking the rules on these pauses? Are we allowed to pause this much? It's ruining my caster tempo.
10 minutes per game. So you're like, halfway through the allotted pause time, maybe actually. But I mean, stepping back a little bit. I mean, I think Syndicate Reboot card still pretty firmly in the driver's seat of this game, but we've seen that even a little mistake from their side can give Iceborn a very solid fighting chance in these team fights. And if that turns into a major objective like this Chemtech Soul, I think Iceborn is going to be right back in it with the potential to close things out. I mean, Syndicate has very strong scaling, and their champions have scaled. So I do think that's like pretty scary for Iceborn. But they have the damage to get through. There's only one proper tank on the side of Syndicate Reboot card, and if they can either chew through that Ornn early or ignore the Ornn and get kills onto the other members of that team, I think they have a very solid chance in this game.
Yeah, looking at the gold differences up there on the screen, I mean, it's 3,000 is the delta on the solo laners, and then the other 3,000 is right there in the jungle. That's, I mean, I feel like the move is maybe look to pick Mist, right? You have some tools to pick Mist, and if they take Lilia out of the equation and try to play because they do with the Vi ults, with the Ziggs ult and the burst on top. The only problem with that is the Zhonya's. Mist has the go golden counter button there, and also has flash up. So obviously, I feel like that would be the best option. But looking at Zhonya's and flash on that Lilia, maybe they're looking to take out Jacob first and continue that fight afterwards. But it's got to be poke. They got to find something again, and we are unpausing now. Woo!
Let's go.
But yeah, like you said, still in the driver's seat. It's Reboot Card's game. Syndicate just needs to secure Soul or, do exactly what they did last game and completely ace them at the Soul fight and walk it down to end the game.
It's resuming 0. Uh-oh. Hopefully hopefully that 0 is a real 0. It's
spectator.
We are in. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so let's looking around the map a little bit. I mean, one thing that really sticks out to me is this Vi is very behind. That is over, Flame Horizon for the Lilia. Vi is only on 2 items. Lilia's on 4 now. That's a lot of extra HP, and yes, they would like to pick the Lilia, but it is hard to do so when there's a Lulu around.
Oh my
when
God,
she has that
almost
Zhonya's.
4,000.
Yeah. They were still feeling a little bit of those after effects of coming out of the pause, I think. But we will be back properly soon.
It's crazy to see the Syndra health bar matching up closely to the Lilia. I guess that's the Cosmic Drive extra HP from the Ornn upgrade. I don't even know.
Cosmic Drive upgraded, and the Liandry's. It's
oh yeah, she's Liandry's as well. Yeah,
Liandry's. People kind of historically think of that as like a tank killing item because of the % health damage, but it's something that some people, especially like LS, have said is it's actually a bit more of a defensive item. It gives you a pretty solid chunk of health, and it's really good in those extended fights, and it kind of helps killing tanks, but it's definitely not as much of a source of raw damage as just getting something like a death cap is.
Yeah. No, for sure. It's like it's like a slower DPS item, but it does seem more of a defensive item. It makes you tanky. It allows you to stay in the fight longer, which does help you take down tanks, but over time, right? It takes you a lot longer.
Exactly.
Still.
And so we've got 45 seconds on this Baron coming back up, and we've got 1 minute on the Dragon. It says Cloud there, but it's actually going to be Chemtech. So yeah, two possible locales for a likely game-deciding fight. I mean, I think I've said that word, the game-deciding fight earlier, and it did not quite decide the game. I mean, it maybe dictated the pace a little bit earlier, but certainly it did not end things quite yet. And it does seem like Iceborn White has the first move. They've got these control wards down. They've got the saplings down. They have the Ziggs to control space. So if the play is on this Dragon, I do kind of favor their current setup, but they're letting Espada walk in pretty far and buy a lot of space for his team.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to say we've seen, 2 or 3-man Swirl Seed ulti combos out of Mist, and with the flash available, I wouldn't be surprised if Mist sends it on the Lil. Oh my God, Koopa taking so much damage from Measurable, the Jinx, and Call the Forge God comes in, and this fight just ensues, but Call the Forge God could not be recasted. Here's the double drowsy. Haman Karn might go down. Mist over the wall, going to flash onto him. Haman Karn's going to turn around and go in, but without their jungler, it looks like Iceborn's going to lose that Dragon Soul.
That's going to be Soul given over. And they had a great setup at the start. But yeah, I mean, one of the key things when you're thinking about setting up for a Dragon is mid lane priority. You saw there were pings coming down onto the mid lane, and Syndicate Reboot card just shoved that wave in, and they said, hey, if you go for that Dragon, we might take your base. And the threat of that alone is scary enough that it kind of throws Iceborn into a little bit of disarray. Even with Measurable kind of frontlining for the team, they're forced back, and it's eventually a massive team fight win for the side of Syndicate Reboot Card, who now has the Soul and the Baron, which is a very nice recipe for ending the game. Oh my goodness, that was 1 HP.
Oh, 1 HP.
That is a
nice
tilter.
It is a nice attempt, but it might be game here. Measurable gets the reset, flashes forward on Koopa, and this Jinx, who was never an issue, is now a very, very big one. As we do get the emotes, and mid and Spada will walk them in. I think they can end here. OTF's going to try to put it to a stop. Monkarn on the flank. And I mean, the Jace really isn't a threat at all. Unfortunate, we didn't see much from the Jace this game. Call the Forge God comes in, lands it on a two-man knock-up, a two-man Scatter the Weak, a two-man Swirl Seed, and Measurable. Oh my god, just stand still, does so much damage.
Dancing on him a little bit, going for some damage on the fountain. Not going to get the kill, but this will surely be the game in a few seconds here. And once again, the scaling goes in favor of Syndicate Reboot Card. And yeah,
I don't want to be the one to say a little bit of BM there, but Measurable, obviously died quite a few times this game, so it probably feels good to win there in the end. Reboot Card takes it to a 2-0. If Syndicate wins next game, that's it. They'll advance to what, semis? So yeah, this is quarterfinals. So
yeah, that could be it if they're able to find the win in the next game. And I mean, pretty similar story, I think, to game number 1. We did see, I think, a lot better look from the side of Iceborn White. They were playing around their comp's identity a lot more, getting those dives on bottom lane. It was looking pretty good, at least playable for them, but in the end, it was too much, and Syndicate Reboot Card comes out on top. And yeah, we'll see if they can close it out in the next game.
Yeah. I think the only thing to say is that mid-prio thing you talked about, I think it might have been better just to stick the dragon, right? I know mid-prio is important. Losing inhib would have sucked there, but it might have been worth it for just securing the dragon soul, and maybe it was playable for Iceborn. But I do think, like you said, a better early game from Iceborn, but also a better end game for Reboot Card. I mean, they might have had like 1 or 2 little throws, but they kind of closed it out nicely this time around. I think we'll be back with Game 3 draft after a short intermission, and we'll see you guys there. Oops. Hello. Sorry, I had to cough right as we're back on mic. Hey, we are here. It's 2-0. Syndicate Reboot card in the lead. Iceborn trying to reverse sweep. We're here at Game 3 draft. We saw 2 solid games from Syndicate, and Iceborn still trying to figure out, will they figure it out here in game number 3? What do you think, Freedom Potatoes?
I believe in them. I think they've shown strength. They've shown, you know, especially in that last game, they showed a much more solid game plan than they did in game number 1. But I do think, you know, even just draft wise, maybe making some adaptations. Draft wasn't necessarily the issue, but I think, you know, if it hasn't worked twice in a row, I think there's got to be some changes. But for the most part, the bans are staying the same. But between these teams, it's interesting because I feel like Iceborn is partly banning champions that their own jungler and the enemy jungler plays.
Yeah,
like they both kind of like some of these duelist style champions, and so okay, there's a Lilia. Get that off the table.
I like to see.
I will take that.
Yeah.
That alone is enough of an adaptation that I'm happy with it, because that champion is very strong. It can carry super hard. It power farms. It team fights well. Like as long as you don't get turbo bullied in the early game, it can be a big deal. But the Varus is back. That was banned in game number 2, and now it's been picked back up for measurable. So we'll see if that gets as much value in this game as it did in the first one. And Fiddlesticks
Flashbang by a Fiddlesticks lock-in. Also, that's like the old Fiddle Splash or something, isn't it?
Yeah, that's like the old fiddle. Yeah, like
it's not even Fiddlesticks. It's like the old fiddle coming at you.
Maybe they'll bring back the bouncing crow too.
Yeah,
I like that
the crow. It bounces 7 times, clears the wave. We like that. Fiddle mid, the middle sticks though. No, I like the Lilia ban. The one thing I don't like is that they didn't steal Syndra, right? I mean, Syndra's still up. I feel like Jacob could confidently lock it in here if they won. I don't know what the deal is. It's just like, I don't know. Like, do you not want to ban it? But I mean, I guess no Syndra means Jarvan Galio. Maybe we didn't want to pick Syndra and Galio though. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, that's a very potent combo. Jarvan can lock you down. Galio comes down as well, and if you don't have flash up, that's almost certainly a kill. But OTF picking up the Yone. This is another pick that he is very good at. I am also excited to see this. Yeah, and I think it will be especially strong into the Galio. So already liking the adaptations from Iceborn's draft. I mean, the Fiddlesticks, I'm not sure. That's a pick that can get a ton of value, but if you're not able to control space, it can look pretty useless. So it's, you know, vision control definitely going to be the name of the game here. The Jhin pick is also pretty interesting to me. I mean, now you've got some big nukes alongside the Yone's more sustained DPS. It's you know, kind of matches the Varus in terms of like playing at range and offering a good amount of utility with the root on the W. And it's going to be all bans thrown at the top lane now.
Yeah, I'm looking at Iceborn's comp. It's kind of all over the place. They really need these last 2 picks to wrap it together now. The other thing I'm thinking about is Galio going to end up going support? That Syndra is still up. How is the Syndra matchup into Yone? I'm not sure if it's too bad, but yeah, I'm surprised it wasn't banned is basically where I was going with that. It's going to be a Vladimir pickup. Could be top or mid. Again, I don't know if this is Galio's support or not.
Yeah, well, I guess we won't know until this last pick comes through. I will say, Syndra is pretty good into Yone. It's a matchup where, like, if you get behind a Syndra, you start getting dove on cooldown and it sucks. But if you're able to, I think if both champions are piloted at, like, the equivalent efficiency, or then it's a little Syndra favorite. But you know, always situational. Yone can always do some BS and just pop off in a game. But, okay, so rounding out the comps, yeah, we've got 2 hook supports down in the bottom lane. Thresh is the pick for Iceborn. That's an interesting one. I think they do like to play that champion. It offers a little bit more utility than just pure engage, which is always cool to see. And yeah, so it's actually gonna looks like it's actually gonna be the Galio going top into the Scion, unless there's a last minute swap here.
That's the wild one. I don't think that's great for Galio. I'm lagging out. Are we all lagging out? Oh, I'm back.
Neither, a little bit. But okay, we're back. We're getting to see the whole map now. You know, and it's just going to be
a Galio top. Wow.
Traditional 5-point from the side of Iceborn, while Syndicate Reboot card stacking in that bottom side bush. If anyone
look at those health bars. That's nice and pretty.
We're getting to
All
see
those pixels on the
void
Yeah.
surrounding Summoner's Rift.
I
This is the
can see the
lore they don't want you to know
watchers. I can see the watchers. It's my reflection in my monitor. So, yeah, I was gonna say one thing I want to do when the game gets to this point, or the series gets to this point, and where it could be on our last game. I'd like to introduce every player in the game, give them a little shout out, just because I like to say their name at least once if I haven't said it enough. For the side of Syndicate, we have a spot in the top lane on the Galio, Mist in the jungle on J4, Jacob in the mid lane on Vladimir, and Measurable and Retail Row on the Varus Nautilus bot lane duo. For the side of Iceborn, Stuckdaro in the top lane, Haman Karn in the jungle, OTF in the mid lane on Yone, and Koopa and Quantum Force on the Jhin and Thresh. And notable players, I mean, Espada was pretty dominant last game, but kind of all around for Reboot card. They definitely have a really good team effort. On the other side, I don't know. We just saw 2 games of Cho'Gath mid from OTF, and everyone else has been struggling a little bit. They've had some moments, but hopefully we get to see some more here. Maybe they're finally on some comfort picks.
I think the Yone is definitely comfort, and that's going to be what I'm looking at. Now, I don't play a ton of Yone or Vladimir, but the numbers say that it is a pretty tough matchup for the Yone, and it makes sense. They probably saw the Galio, assumed it was mid, and picked the Yone as a counter and some comfort. And for Reboot card, getting a counter pick back out of that with the Vladimir is pretty nice. Now, I do think whichever lane the Galio goes into, he might struggle a little bit. I think Sion kind of out tanks him a little bit, and Yone kind of out DPSs him a little bit. So I do wonder if this matchup is like not great as I anticipate it being. That could be something that Iceborn could exploit. While in the mid lane, I think OTF's just going to need to farm up. I anticipate this being pretty rough early.
Oh, we did get an early gank bot. Missed. It seemingly doesn't land, or it was flashed by Quantum Force. Quantum Force going to use that death sentence and try to sentence him to death, but seems like Mist will just walk that one out. Flash and Ignite being used by Quantum Force. And a little sacrifice to the tempo, which is good news for Haman Karn on the Fiddlesticks. Might be able to pick up the double scuttle or something.
Fiddle really wants to farm up and start hitting those items to be, useful, be able to survive in the 1v1 and stuff. And I think there was also a little bit of anti-synergy where the Flay knocked Jarvan out of the
oh, wow. Haman Karn down here for the gank. Retail Row does have flash available. A lot of damage coming in from the Fiddle. It is not a Dark Harvest. It is Electrocute. So no stacks to be picked up, but that pressure will help the bot lane for Iceborn. I would like to see, again, Haman Karn help them crash and not leave them in this sort of poor lane state. What is happening? Top lane, the Galio is hard-winning. Stuckdaro about to fall, gonna flash away and just barely survives.
I mean, I stand corrected. I guess Galio maybe just beats Sion, or maybe there's a, I don't know. I think that might change as the game goes a bit longer and Sion really starts to get tankier. Galio's early damage can be quite a lot to deal with. So, and that's probably a matchup you don't see every day. So, Stuckdaro maybe not anticipating just how much damage that champion can deal in the early lane. But it's still a little bit of a CS lead for the Sion. He's going to be able to continue stacking up that health and be a big, beefy frontliner for Iceborn Wyatt.
Yeah, I would say Galio's damage sort of plateaus or stagnates, where the Sion tankiness definitely has exponential growth. So I'm sure it'll eventually change, but yeah, Stuckdaro needs to be careful, especially now Flashless is super gankable, but needs to be careful of taking those trades and possibly getting one shot by the early Galio. Yeah.
Yeah, Galio Jarvan, if you don't have flash, that's just deadly. Galio can flash on top of you, channel that taunt on you, and then if Jarvan lands the EQ to follow up, it's pretty much just over. So yeah, if they can exploit that flash timer, that's going to be really big for Syndicate Reboot card. But right now, Jarvan's down bot. We might see, actually no, that's the fake Fatal that I'm seeing on the minimap. Yeah, I was just walking across our screen right now.
Let me say, man, so, not very often we cast Fiddlesticks. Oh. We do have a we have a hook here in the bot lane and the EQ flag and drag combo. Quantum Force flashless from the gank earlier. Mist might be able to pick up this kill. One more bonk. There it is, first blood. Another combo available to go on Koopa. And Koopa's gonna flash it, even though it might not have had to. Fourth shot going to come in, get missed super low. Haman Karn is here for that piercing arrow damage. Haman Karn trying to get something out of this, but decides to go for a little bit of damage on Measurable and back away. Probably would have ended poorly, right?
That Nautilus into the Jarvan with the amount of burst that Varus can do probably means that Fiddle would die before anyone gets traded on the opposite side. Yeah, it's a little unfortunate, you know. I want to see if Quantum Force can do the flay on the Jarvan technique, because you can interrupt that flag and drag if you time it very well. And there the flay was a little early, I think, kind of just to get the Nautilus off of them, which isn't so much what you want. But actually, I think that's going to be a kill.
Yeah, we find Haman Karn finds Immeasurable down here face or something. I'm not even sure how Measurable is there in that moment, but Haman Karn is behind him as the Fear, and that is a 1-0 Fiddlesticks with those Sorcerer's Shoes. Definitely really good pick.
Really good pick. I mean, it looks like Retail Row reset, and I think Measurable was trying to drop a little vision before taking a reset of their own, and that bites them back pretty hard.
That's why ADCs don't ward.
Yeah, true. No wards at all. So it's going to be a trade of Grubs for Dragon. This should be going over to Iceborn, and I think we'll be reasonably happy with that trade. I mean, it would be nice for Iceborn to get some Grubs onto the Scion, who can always be a big split push threat. I think their split push threat is much better than what Syndicate Reboot card has to offer, but you know, Dragon stacking, if the bot lane is able to get ahead, also a great win condition for them.
I did see we got raided by Risen. A few people joining the stream. If you're joining just now, or anyone who may not know, it is Syndicate Reboot card versus Iceborn White in a quarterfinals match here in our Conqueror League. And Reboot card actually leads the series 2-0 and could end this best of 5 if they win this game. Haman Karn getting put in a bad spot. Already used the flash. Gonna have to ult out. Will they be able to survive? They're tagged by the Hemo Plague. It's gonna pop. And there's the kill for Jacob.
I liked that ult out. That almost worked, but the Hemo Plague used to secure the kill. I mean, you know, it's a lot of that is the flash and ult down from Jarvan, which is going to mean a little bit less potency on the ganks, but still getting a kill onto Vladimir, getting him closer to that first item, which I think is usually going to be that Cosmic Drive, is a pretty big deal here. And the top lane staying scrappy.
Yeah, I mean, Daro's getting the farm. Oh, we do have a fight in bot lane. I was going to say Daro's getting the farm, but definitely getting poked out. I mean, only has the Cull and the Doran shield, gonna TP back of it. And I think this is where the Scion starts to definitely win. The mana problems go away, and the HP is just too much for the Galio to deal with. I mean, Galio does do % health, but I just don't think it's going to be enough to deal with something like Scion. Especially once that first item, it's what is that called? Hollow Radiance?
Hollow Radiance, yeah.
Yeah.
Getting the MR and a ton of wave clear, which means you can kind of just ignore the Galio in lane a lot more, because you don't have to, you know, channel your Q on the wave as much or whatever. But yeah, and down bot, Quantum Force having to pretty much blow this flash on cooldown. It's not feel good if you want to be playing aggressive on this Thresh. So we're looking at a little under 1,000 gold in the lead for Syndicate Reboot card. Not going to mean too much just yet, but those small leads can add up over time. Looks like a lot of that is in the mid lane. This Vladimir getting that one early kill and up a little bit of farm, as you'd probably expect from the range versus melee matchup.
Yeah, it's actually a win in every lane except top, but Miss is about to make it a win for top as well. Looking for the flag and drag onto stuck Daro. It does go wide, and Daro does have an ulti out. Can they use the Unstoppable All-Slot? They're actually going to use it for a kill, but they do miss. But they might still get out until they run right into Jacob.
Uh-oh.
The Crimson Vampire himself.
He's flashing.
Will use that Hemo Plague. And again, are we going to see a detonation kill?
No!
Pop, not enough, thanks to the shield from the Soul Siphon. Is that what it's called? Something like that.
Yeah, Soul Furnace. I think
Soul Furnace.
Right?
Yeah,
Soul
like
Furnace.
that.
Yes. Okay. Well, that's
close.
Flash rolled down for the Vladimir means you know, any upcoming fights will be a little bit trickier for the side of Syndicate. But he still has that Ghost on a pretty short cooldown, and the ult isn't too long either. So yeah.
Oh, we do have a nice engage here from Hankar, and they do land the Crowstorm Fear, and OTF is there for some follow-up damage. The kill goes over to Haman Karn. This is now 2 kills on that Fiddlesticks. Had a shout-out in the Twitch chat. How can lose on the Fiddlesticks? So it's definitely comfort, definitely the main. Hopefully those 2 kills can put Iceborn here in a winning spot.
I mean, that Fiddlesticks can win a team fight all on its own pretty much, and it's used to great effect there. And there's a fun little interaction we got to see there, which is that if Fiddlesticks starts that drain, the bountiful harvest, the pool does not interrupt that. The damage still goes off even as Vladimir's trying to get away. So he has no flash. He uses the pool, but it's too little, too late, and yeah, it's another kill over. And that gives OTF some time to collect a couple, one or 2 plates, I think. Which is going to be super helpful for getting back in this match.
Ooh.
Oh, but
it's going to be Mist going in with the Cataclysm and the follow-up. Hero's entrance, grand entrance, I forget what it's called, from the Galio. And oh my god, it's looking like a complete wipe. But OTF's trying to turn it around, gets the kill, has the lethal tempo proc, going to queue out and leave Daro here to maybe finish off Espada. Jacob might be able to take down Daro.
Daro has the ult in a few seconds here. If this shield buys him enough time, he might be able to get out.
Ooh, the slow might be enough, and it is. And Daro will escape. The decimating smash did finish off Espada, and it's not bad. But the two of those grubs are actually stolen during the Cataclysm.
Yeah, great play by Mist, getting in with the Cataclysm, not only stealing it away, but also setting up the Galio for a huge ult. And I think that ended up being a 2-for-1 in the top side, but there's another kill coming through on the bot side. Mono Force getting bullied a little bit, and notably, Reboot card also grabs the Feat of Warfare. They were the first 1 to 3 kills, so that's going to put them on the path to getting those completed, especially denying those grubs from Iceborn. Is also going to slow down their progression towards that feat.
Yeah, but the game is, I mean, pretty dead even besides the Dragon advantage, I guess, compared to those 5 grubs. So I would say it's pretty even here. Everything's looking all right. I guess the state of bot lane is a concern for Iceborn. But OTF on that Yone and Haman Karn on the Fiddlesticks, I mean, they're both looking like they're confident on these champions, and they're a threat. I mean, much more than the Cho'Gath Vi, I'd say.
The comfort is there and the confidence is there, and I think that's the name of the game here. But OTF is getting engaged on.
Yeah, it does not have the Fate Sealed to escape, but does have the E.
A lot of moving around there.
No, Soul Unbound does have the Soul Unbound and a Lantern, but yeah, that was a really funny series of interactions with those abilities.
And nothing really comes of it in the end. But now that Jarvan's up on the top side, if Iceborn can recognize this, that could give them the time they need to do this dragon before he's able to clear down onto his bot side camps. So yeah, if they can use this little tempo advantage they've got themselves here, well, partial tempo advantage. I mean, the bot lane's still collecting away, but I do see them going onto the dragon. This is a lethality Varus this time.
Yeah, a lot of poke damage coming there. Look at that poke on Quantum.
But mostly a team that's a little riskier to hit in melee, or at auto attack range for the Varus. So makes a little more sense to go, I think, for the lethality, poke people out. Yeah, Sion can withstand it quite a bit, but everyone else on that team, if they don't have targets to hit up to hit and lifesteal off of or drain off of, it's that poke's gonna stick quite a bit when the late game rolls around.
We talked about how Iceborn had a better early game in Game 2 than they did in Game 1, and now looking at these first 14 and a half minutes, they secured the first 2 dragons. It's all tied up at 4 to 4 kills, and the gold's almost dead even. I'd say this is their best early game yet, meaning this is the game to win and start off that reverse sweep.
Yeah, if there's ever a chance for a comeback, I think it starts here in this game with how it's playing out. But Koopa's in some danger on the bot side here. They're looking for a dive, but the health bars are a little low, and OTF is showing up.
Oh, gonna start off with the Fate Sealed. We do have the Crowstorm with the Fear. Again, Haman Karn doing a good job of coming out of vision. They will get the pick onto Retail Row. But yeah, you're right. It was Quantum Force and Koopa really under threat there. We have a TP in from Daro as well to save, meaning Espada's gonna be left alone to kind of maybe even get that first tower in top lane, which is that gonna be the feats?
It could be. If he gets it, it will be. Notably, Sion did proxy one wave before TPing, so it's just this wave that's crashing now that's going to be able to hit the turret, and OTF is now almost at that turret, so it should be able to hold.
Okay.
I don't
Yep.
think these turrets will be going down quite yet, but yeah, no value really found with that Sion TP, but I like looking for the play. There was a plausible angle, but
Ooh.
doesn't quite find any.
That was a lot of
Flat out
damage.
quite hard. I mean, he's got
This is
that MR. The
the
trades
grass
are
proc, I
pretty
don't know.
pretty favorable, yeah. But
Yeah, I mean, every time we pan bot, we just see Koopa struggling.
it's this poke Varus. I mean, if you're not able to dodge those skill shots, and to be fair, the Varus E. Oh wait, there was just a solo kill mid lane. Okay, Sion with the 1v1. Maybe we
There's
got
a little spot of blood there on the
Yeah.
rift. What happened? We missed it.
Baus logging into his secret account or something over here in NA maybe, but I'm impressed. I did not expect Vlad to get 1v1 by the Sion.
Speaking of comfort, I mean, you were the one saying that, yeah, OTF Yone, you know about this pick. Thinking back on what I've seen Daro play, Sion is one of Daro's comfort picks as well. And I mean, I guess we're starting to see that because a 2-0 lead right now is pretty good. And I think Daro is playing very confident. We've seen the aggression, we've seen the outplay, and we're seeing some outplay and aggression right now from OTF. The damage wasn't quite there when you missed the Fate Sealed, but almost taking Espada down in the 1v1.
And we saw some nice footwork from Espada. I gotta give credit there, dodging away from one or two of those Yone Qs, and just a little bit more damage from that champion with the snapback on the Soul Unbound would have probably given the kill over to OTF. So well played by Espada to escape that. I think this matchup is pretty tough for the Galio matching into the Yone, so they definitely want to avoid that. But they have two people here hitting this top turret. Actually, they already got first turret down bot. Now that I look at the map, we were so busy watching up here that I think we missed that. But yeah, that will be the feats of strength claimed by Syndicate Reboot card, and the second turret going down as well. So gold dead even. Dragon's a little in the lead for Iceborn, but yeah, that's the feats completed.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be kind of a repeat of what we saw either game one or even both games where there's two dragons for Iceborn, and Reboot card's not going to want to give them that third. The Rift Herald is sitting there. No one's really looking at it right now, but that next dragon's in 1 minute, and I don't think it's an ocean if we already have an ocean, so it's going to be another Chem Soul on the map. What is the map? Yeah, it's another Chem. It's another Chem Soul. We gotta love the visual clarity of what dragons there are. Sometimes it's a little messed up. It bugs out, but yeah, another Chem Tech.
Gets that, those enhanced plants always allow for some exciting plays. The super blast cone lets you get some crazy flanks off. And we'll see if the teams are able to take advantage of that. As there's a fight in mid lane.
Yeah, it looks like Crowstorm was used. The curtain call comes out, but it might be Amon Karn going down. No, look at that healing! It's insane. And here comes Quantum Force with a Death Sentence Flay combo, setting up the kill, or kills, for Koopa. It is going to be 2 kills picked up for the side of Iceborn. As this third Drake is spawning, they're going to have a 3-0 start here to the Dragons.
Iceborn White is coming alive in this game. These specialty picks in the Yone and the Fiddlesticks dealing tons of damage, doing massive work for them here as they're extending their gold lead a little bit, and yeah, getting on soul point unless a miracle steal comes through. I don't even think there's anywhere it could come from. I guess the Galio Q, but yeah, that is going extremely well for them. It looked a little scary for the Fiddlesticks in that mid lane, not finding the ult and getting engaged on by several people, but the healing is too much, and he's able to walk out of there. And yeah, soul point secured for Iceborn White.
Yeah, I'm not sure where that other kill came into the fight. I think OTF was diving somebody in the backline and was able to get that kill. Pretty good stuff. I mean, 2-0 on both solo leaders. It's not just the Fiddlestick show. And Koopa's starting to get back into it. Has survived, the laning phase of dealing with Poke Varus. Is 1-0-3. Has a pretty close with the CS Delta, and probably feeling a little bit all right. Actually has a bounty on their head. So I think Koopa's having a pretty solid game, despite how awful it may have looked down there in bot lane at times.
Yeah, dropping that first turret didn't look great, but avoiding the deaths, keeping the farm pretty close considering how iffy things were looking much of the time. It's it definitely takes skill to weather the storm and play out a rough lane or lane where you might have a bit of a rough start. And yeah, I mean, going back to that play we saw mid, that's one of the things that's kind of tricky with lethality of Varus is like if you can poke at range, you can stop people from ever being able to even look at you. But once you do have someone like this Yone on you, you're gonna be missing a lot of that sustained DPS, that life steal, those tanky items that an on-hit Varus can build, like we saw in game number 1 with the Jack show. So it's we'll see if this ends up paying off, but with the way the game's going and these solo laners getting so ahead for Iceborn, it might end up being kind of rough to play lethality here.
Yeah, I like everything that just happened. Monkarn going bush by bush with the sweepers, looking for potential Fiddlesticks Crow Storm play, but they're just going to take the Rift Herald because they have all of the vision down. They have the priority here on the top side of the map, and that's going to leave Otacon as the next objective for the next 3 minutes if they want to look at it. I mean, they're not in such a large lead where this is a safe Otacon, but they do have all of that priority and vision here topside. I think more they're looking for a play. We do see that TP coming in from behind Koopa, and Mist is going to go on to Quantum Force. Retail Row is here as well. Quantum Force with the flash from the dredge line, but Koopa is in such a weird spot. Setting up for the Fiddle ulti. Here's a 2-man Fiddle ulti. Do they have the damage? Shaman Karn in the middle of 4, but the Crow Storm is burning away. The Galio ult shields kind of deny a lot of it, and Haman Karn will get shut down. OTF getting shut down as well, I believe, and it's going to be Stuckdaro off to the side trying to 1v1 measurable. Koopa is way out of the fight. Quantum Force, no flash, trapped in the Baron Pit's going to fall, and I don't want to say it's a throw, but it's not looking good for Iceborn as Daro is trying to get to an ulti spot out. Oh, no, I'm sorry, there is no ulti. Looking for a flash play onto measurable. What was that dance off in Baron Pit?
I think they're just trying to stall the death on the Thresh so that he's not up and they might be able to get this Otacon. But Daro did stall for a long time.
He lived for so long.
A lot of the people that died in that fight are about to come back up, and I guess Measurable did just heal off of that. But I do wonder if the Fiddlesticks might be able to get in here and accomplish something. But it is going down pretty fast. They have all 5 members hitting this, so yeah, that's a right back into the game for Syndicate Reboot card. Iceborn, they were doing really well, but they.
What happened to Koopa? He was there in the fight, getting engaged on, and then 2 seconds later he's in mid lane, nowhere near it.
The angles of that whole fight were so bizarre to me. I mean, Iceborn was half like in the enemy tri-bush behind their tower, like shooting a Jinult at them under their own turret, and then like OTF joined the fray. I don't even know how some people got into the places they did in that fight. But I mean, it really stems from, I think, an overstay by Koopa. We saw the gold graph, or the gold individual player gold pop up right before that, and I think OTF was sitting on close to 2,000. Several other players on Iceborn were also on like 900, 800, 900 gold. That's a clear sign that you want to reset, spend that money. But actually, there's about to be a fight in the bot lane here. Oh no,
the ward denial of the Lantern. Koopa might be getting picked again. A Cataclysm on 2. OTF with the 3-man fate sealed. But it's really just an attempt to get away. Hemoplague tag, piercing arrow almost took OTF to the grave, and the slow from Sanguine Pool and the E-pop from the Vladimir will find that second pick. And if it wasn't already bad after losing that fight before the Dragon Soul, getting those 2 picks here is great for Reboot card and terrible, disastrous for Iceborn White as they see their Dragon Soul about to slip away, and the game is slipping as well.
That's disastrous. I completely agree. I mean, Sion's gonna try to hold this mid turret, and there's not a lot of damage.
The Fiddle ult over the wall with the flash, a double fear, a triple fear, a lot of damage. Espada might be the one going down. Jacob's low as well.
There's a knock-up.
It's going to be Stuckdaro looking for that kill. Not going to be able to find it on Jacob. Jacob will escape, but now Measurable might be caught out. Has flash. Missed here, trying to zone him off. Step in front. And it might just be a sacrifice to support and everybody gets out. They did deny the Dragon Soul, but now it's Iceborn's turn to look at this Baron. Will they do it? 5-man rotation. It looks like they're going to go for it. Mist is still up. Teleport also available for Espada. 15-second timer.
Action here. I mean, the DPS, you know, Jhin, not the fastest at taking the Baron, but Fiddlesticks and Yone definitely offer a lot on this objective take. They're going to need to spot out Mist and see if, you know, Quantum Force or someone else on this team can stop him from getting in the pit. It looks like they're going to actually give up on the
I think they need to back out because I'm going to say it now. They're going to get aced. This is not
be able
good.
to find Mist
OTF over the wall,
if Mist is forced to blow this. Oh, but they're hitting different people.
Yeah, Quantum Force looking for the death sentence. It goes wide, and this is where things start to get bad. OTF still going forward, but Espada has the teleport. Here's entrance not available, but Chain of Corruption coming up soon. There are tools for Reboot card in this upcoming fight where Iceborn kind of needs to reset. They've been on the map for a bit, and they need to reset before they hard throw the entire game.
Looks like they will. Actually, Koopa could be in danger here if Jacob goes for that. He has the ghost.
He has a ghost, but no flash. If he has flash, he's going, right? 100%.
Yeah. I mean, this is a strong Vladimir. He has the Cosmic Drive and the Rabadon's completed. So, the solo laners for Iceborn were looking very strong, but I think Vladimir has gotten to the point where he can be a proper threat now. And they're playing around the vision in this top jungle. Gonna try to. Oh wait. Stuck Daro just drifted the Herald into one turret and is now looking for another. There's actually no one nearby, which means this could be an angle towards the second turret. They're actually looking to trade 2 inner turrets, maybe for the Baron. They do have people in the area that might be able to hold this off.
Yeah, I don't hate this. I mean, TPing in now, they're going to contest the Baron, but they did get the hard pry on the split push going. Curtain Call. And Unstoppable Onslaught, Fate Sealed is looking somewhere. It's going to go nowhere as it goes down. Crowstorm over the wall, also not doing stuff. 2 big ultimates, kind of wasted, not doing much. Death Sentence misses as well. And Daro finds himself in a 1v5 scenario as Quantum Force and Koopa run away. I mean, I guess the good news is they did get the push in the side lanes, but they're still losing this Baron, and they give away 3 kills.
And they didn't even get the local gold for those turrets. I almost wanted to see them just stick on that split push. 2 inner turrets is a lot of money, and yes, the Baron buff gives a lot of value, but there's no dragon for several minutes, so that would make it a lot harder for them to get value out of that. If the side waves are pushed in, it's going to take a lot longer for you to get to the enemy side of the map, and there's no guarantee that Syndicate Reboot card would have even been able to get the Baron with the threat of the Fiddlesticks lurking. Instead, it's a very disjointed fight with TPs onto Jhin traps in the middle of enemy players. You know, Galio's able to just channel that taunt and wait for people showing up. And it ends up being really disastrous. I mean, OTF goes down before even landing the ultimate. You want the Yone to be able to kind of find a flank angle, not start the fight in the middle of people. Maybe end up there, while being able to free hit. But yeah, going in like that, it's disastrous. And I think that could have been a lot better for the side of Iceborn. So game continuing to pendulum back and forth as we will be resuming the game here shortly.
I definitely agree. I think the correct play, I mean, tell me if you agree, is just Fiddlesticks solo ults in there and it's a one-way trip and maybe steals the Baron, you know? Probably kills someone too if it's a 5-man fear. So I would have liked the double split push, and Fiddle stalls backs. If he gets the Baron, he stalls backs even more. They can start looking at inhib turrets. They get that local gold. It could have been really huge if they didn't really full commit to a 5v5 contest.
I think if the play goes like that, we're looking at maybe 4 turrets taken by the side of Iceborn White and cracking open the base, which means Sion can threaten a TP or an ult in there. It's like, so I mean, I think this is maybe kind of the second time this series where we've seen Iceborn have what looks like a really solid game plan set up. You know, they have Sion and Yone, excellent split pushers, and yet they're playing for the team fight, which is something that I'd say these teams are actually pretty even on. You know, in the middle of the river, I don't think that Fiddlesticks feared anyone. He was just dealing a little bit of damage to the front line from Reboot card. And so it's like, you really want to play towards, you know, ulting over walls, playing around vision, and letting those solo laners split push while, you know, you can get vision with Jhin ease and poke them out and things like that. So I think they had the right idea, but when they saw that Baron get started, it felt like they maybe panicked a little bit, TP'd in to a place they I don't think they should have. And now the game is back in Syndicate Reboot card's hands.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm just looking like how all these games went. I'm not sure. Oh, we do have a death sentence. I don't know if anything's coming from this hook. But it's kind of a similar story every game. I think Iceborn has some really early game, like really good early game macro, and you know, they're kind of like evenly matched in terms of skill. But when it comes to like the later game macro and like playing team fights and moving together as a team, it's Reboot card who does a better job of moving together as a team. They're not getting picked, they're not overstaying, and I think that's just what inevitably has led to Reboot card kind of in the mid game slowly just becoming the better team and winning. And it's happened 3 times in a row. I mean, it's even for a while until it's not.
It's felt like they're able to really kind of keep their heads on straight, keep their cool, and play towards the win conditions. Where, yeah, it's felt like, to me at least, like Iceborn has the pieces there, they have the ideas, but when push comes to shove, those ideas start to go out the window a little bit. It takes a lot of training to kind of a lot of time playing with the same team and things like that to really know what to do when your back is up against the wall like that, or not back up against the wall, but just when things aren't going exactly how you wanted them.
Right, yeah. I mean, this is a playoff match. Some people have more experience than others in playoffs. Like, it's kind of like, nerves and stuff get in the way. Or maybe, it's just whatever kind of player or person you are, you might get a little flustered. And like you said, it does seem like Reboot card is just more comfortable, more relaxed, and they're kind of more confident in those scenarios. So when there is a, I guess, flash decision that you have to make, a big team play, they're the ones who are more confident and quicker to move as a unit and figure it out, where we do see Iceborn struggling a little bit, but that doesn't take away from how well they played this season and how well they've played in this series and how well they're still playing. It could possibly still win. I mean, we do have the Fiddlesticks, we have the Yone, we have the Scion. They're comfortable on these champions. They know how to win the game. It takes one good Fiddlesticks ulti to turn this game around or win this game. So I've been told, and I agree.
And despite the gold deficit, I still think Iceborn is actually on like pretty comfortable footing here. I think generally speaking, I mean, scaling is a difficult thing to quantify, but I would say that like the Jarvan and the Galio in late game team fights don't necessarily scale as hard as some of the champions that Iceborn has. I mean, it always comes down to execution and the synergy with the rest of their team, or how they counter the enemy team and stuff, of course. But I still think they have like a very solid scaling angle in this game if they're able to slow things down. As far as like a champion that really like scales hard, I think Vladimir is the one you'd really look at for the side of Syndicate Reboot card, and he is very strong at this point in the game. But so is the Yone,
Yeah, and because it's lethality Varus, they don't like, we see how long Darrow lives. They don't really have that tank shredding damage. Now there is that Leandri's Cosmic Drive from a Vladimir, so we talked about how it's not really a tank busting item, but it's Vladimir who's super tanky, has the healing, is going to continue to keep hitting the Scion, and that's probably most of the damage to Scion unless Measurable is able to safely hit him. But yeah, I mean, the Darrow scaling, the Scion scaling could be an issue, as well as that Yone Fiddle. I mean, they definitely have tools. And those tools are not the Jhin and the Thresh. It is the other 3. And I'm excited for the next team fight. I think it's possible Iceborn could win it, and this game could go on a little bit longer.
Yeah. I wonder if this Fiddlesticks is close to hitting level 16, because Mist on Jarvan is actually level 17, so really been a consistent performer in terms of like farming the jungle and staying on top of this farm, getting the level advantage in this whole series. But yeah, if that Fiddlesticks can hit level 16, that ult's going to become even more deadly, and it's already such a key part of their team fight. So yeah, going to be important to get that done before the next team fight. But the Baron spawning in just 25 seconds, 2 minutes on the next dragon. So I'm not sure if there will be time for that Fiddlesticks to farm up to that break point.
Yeah, I guess there hasn't been that much, air quotes, action going on in the past 5 to 10 minutes or whatever. I don't know when the last fight was. But what we did see was, all of those jungle camps being robbed, and they still are being robbed away from Haman Karn. And that's why there's such a big CS difference. And that is bad for the Fiddlesticks, because he wants to hit 16. He's a farming jungler. He wants the Void Staff, or whatever that next item is. Yeah, Void Staff. Definitely. And yeah, it's going to be a huge gold deficit. Not a huge gold deficit. It's going to be a decent gold deficit being put onto Iceborn for this upcoming fight. and it is going to be the Baron fight. It's going to be Reboot card starting up this Baron. It is at 10k or less, 9k. And here comes Retail Row with the dredge line into the depth charge on Koopa, who flashes and brings it through his entire team. And here's the Hero's entrance on top. Koopa's going to go down from that combo. OTF in the middle of 4, getting CC'd up, does escape, but a 3-man Fate Sealed will not do much. And Reboot card, Syndicate Reboot card, running them down. Daro still alive. Quantum Force still alive. I mean, Daro's full health, but eventually they're going to kill him, right? Actually, if you look, Measurable's not even wasting his time. He's like, I'm not going to try to kill this Scion. We're just going to leave. Yeah. Do I cast this? It is a massive Scion. They can't kill it, but they don't need to. It's kind of funny. I don't even know why they're hitting him. Does it really matter? I think just ignore him. I think just ignore him. He's going to try to grab the wave.
Yeah, that's the most important thing right now.
Now they have to kill him.
He is doing it. And
there's the damage. They did need Measurable to kill him.
So he might be able to clear out this last minion and buy a little more time for Iceborn, but I mean, this is yet another disaster. They're not able to start these fights the way they want to. You know, Retail Row's hook goes onto Stuck Daro, which you would think is a good start, but it's a nice adjustment from the Nautilus to throw that ult onto the Jhin anyway. And a little bit unfortunate that when Quantum Force threw the Lantern, Koopa flashed anyway. I think that's a classic Thresh experience, is like, take my Lantern. Oh, they already flashed away from it. And so, you know, that means the flash isn't there to escape after the knockup has ended. And then, yeah, the whole team fight's kind of just a disaster from there, where they're not really able to play front to back. Yone's in a bunch of people, but there's no Scion to help tank. And yeah, it's a tough time if you can't get the setup the way you want it.
Quantum Force lands a Death Sentence hook onto Retail Row. OTF trying to DPS. Dashing forward, now getting just chain CC'd yet again. Hero's entrance about to come in. The knockup does not hit OTF, but the damage does as he burns to death. Meanwhile, Koopa is caught in a Cataclysm again and goes down, and Stuck Daro probably again going to be ignored as all of Reboot card kills everybody else. It's a double kill for Mist, and I don't even really know what happened there. I think Iceborn either gave up, got desperate, thought they had a pick, whatever. But I think Syndicate Reboot card was just the better team tonight.
I mean, you know, with a 3-0 series, it's hard to say anything other than that. I think they showed some great pieces in this game. It's disappointing that they have to go out here, but there's the Measurable walking into the enemy fountain once again. But I mean, yeah, I really liked how this game was looking for them, and it's disappointing that it ends this way from their perspective, but really well played by Syndicate Reboot card to get the 3-0 in the end here.
Yeah, I think solid Iceborn seemed to improve game after game after game. I wonder if they improved all regular season in a similar way, but it was not enough. Maybe if we kept going, they would eventually win. It did seem like it got better and better and better until, you know, now we're here 0-3 and it's over. They do a great job of getting those early dragons, but it's that mid to late game, the team fighting and macro that needs some work. For Reboot card, I mean, great CSing, great laning phases, and keeping your cool, like you said. It doesn't seem like they were nervous at all. They seemed very confident and comfortable throughout the entire series. Even when things didn't look right, I mean, they're right back into it, finding a way back into the game after a small loss. So congrats to Syndicate Reboot card. So far in this bracket, I don't think we've seen many upsets, so they might go on to face, it looks like, potentially Monkeys Cancun, but we don't have confirmation on that yet. Oh no! It wasn't. Dorado Gaming Epsilon 3-1? Is this real? So it's gonna be Syndicate Reboot card. It was an upset facing Dorado. Dorado Epsilon next week in the semifinals, but we might be covering the other side. Syndicate Like a Dragon versus either the other Dorado Iota or Conspiracy Esports. Freedom Potatoes, take it away with anything else you got to add. I don't know.
I mean, I gotta agree with you. I think if if Iceborn had been able to close out that game with the way they were playing the early game, we might have seen the reverse sweep. There's that trend line's going up. Every game, the early games are looking better and better, and unfortunately, they kind of crumbled in the mid to late game here. Especially towards the end, it was looking really shaky, really indecisive on how they were playing things, but still a good showing, especially in that last game. And yeah, GG's all around.
GG's all around. Catch us next week. We'll be covering Conqueror semifinals, like I said, and hopefully it's a banger. Titan season's only got 2 weeks left. Make sure you're there for it. We'll see you guys then. I don't know if I was supposed to do anything else. I wasn't told.
like. Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like. 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like. 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Ay, coming down like precipitation. I ain't never met a limitation. Hate plotting my elimination. Gotta go to Google for the information. I'm a superstar, so I gotta shine. Top dollar be the bottom line. Bottom feeding niggas out of line. Turn your heart rate to a dotted line. Yeah, my zodiac probably dollar sign. Got the energy to win it, my nigga, I'm feeling great. Got a date with destiny, focusing on my fate. I don't give a fuck what you rapping, you been a fake. I'm everything that they ain't, it can't be, it won't be. Wanna see me fall, I can't go, I won't leave. Coming from the block with plain clothes and police. Straight up to the top with bankrolls and rollies. Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like. 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like. 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Ay, 12 can't really stop shit, so I'm still pushing like a mosh pit. Ice dripping, think I'm hot shit. In the yellow bucket with the mop stick. I've been jugging jams like wholesale. Everything must go sell. Hitting bitches with the old well. Need 100 million on the low scale. On my worst night, I'm the best nigga. Wouldn't mess with you, couldn't cap to him. Homie spotted me like 700, brought 1100 right back to him. If I can't do it, then it ain't real. I just make dollars, I don't make deals. I've been going hard in the paint, still blowing cush clouds till I can't feel like. Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like. 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like. 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right?